He's hiring defensive line assistant coach Arif Floyd, who's going to join him up with the Commanders. Speaking of the Cowboys, the Giants have turned the Cowboys down in their request to interview a defensive line coach, Andre Patterson, who worked with Zimmer back in Minnesota.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
Wembanyama three. Good! Goes behind the back here. Oh! Little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama. Drive. Oh, it's knocked away by Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. With Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Hey, gather around. Huddle up. We got something to talk about. It's the Morning Huddle. He is RJ Ochoa, my partner in crime, and in so doing is also a very active and busy editor-in-chief of Blogging the Boys. I'm Rob Thompson. Why can't I put my title down there? Why is it some days I have an availability to put a title onto my screen and others I don't? I have questions.
It's a bit of a user error, Rob.
Is it? Is it really? If it's a user error, I'm willing to fix it. But if it's a ghost in the machine, I want to chase it.
You're messing this up pretty bad.
How am I?
Really, all I'm
trying
to say.
How am I?
I mean, it's pretty simple. You know, we all managed to do it. I
don't see how you can put a title on. You don't have one. Good morning, Eric.
I'd actually
forgive us.
Yeah, I thought I would.
See, I'm just curious. Maybe this is an Edwin thing. With the Morning Huddle. Yes, it is. And today I think is most appropriate as we begin Valentine's Day as the Morning Huddle. Let's vow to make other people's lives better. Spread the love like you would a fine mayonnaise around everywhere you go.
What's the best Valentine's Day song for you?
Wow, I hadn't thought about that.
I have a nominee if you want to,
Does it have to say Valentine's in it, or are you talking about love song?
I think it has to be some sort of, love song, but kind of like it would play at the diner on a Valentine's kind of dance.
Always and Forever He Way.
It's kind of a lame answer.
Oh, you know how many kids are alive today because of that song?
I mean,
there's an entire generation of, well, they're dads now, but are here because of that very song.
I'm gonna go with "Cherish" by the Association.
Cherish is good. I didn't see, but I didn't fire back. Oh, that's stupid. Cherish is
I didn't
good.
say it was stupid.
What'd you say?
I said it just wasn't it. You know what I mean?
For you, because that song might be the reason you're here.
Rachel Green, once upon a time, said that the most romantic song of all time, which is kind of a different category, is "The Way We Were." Do you agree with this?
Oh, it's sad. Yeah, I guess it has fond memories of romance, but yikes.
"Fly Me to the Moon" could be seen as a romantic song.
Because Frank's just cool, bro. Reasons, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I think "Cherish" is still the best answer.
And "Cherish" is for you. That's good, man. But whatever floats your boat, whatever rises your tide, as it were.
I could also go with that's kind of it. There aren't a lot of Valentine's songs. It's not really a musical holiday.
Well, not early. You have plans for today?
Same old. It's hard on a Wednesday.
It is.
You know what I mean, I think there's a lot of people who push and relegate everything to the weekend. That's kind of the MO.
I'm dealing with things on several fronts. I have, the long-term married, my wife saying, "Don't buy me anything because I'm not buying you anything." Valentine's, which is one of those you're damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of scenarios.
Yeah.
And then I've got my son who's spending his first Valentine's away from his girlfriend from college, who's living in Houston now. So he's living the long-term romance. So I got him moping around.
Okay.
And then I've got my other son who's he's in a long-term.
Oh, they're in love.
Very, 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 very in love.
Oh yeah.
So I got the whole gamut running around. I got the sad sack I'm going to go FaceTime her kind of stuff. And then my wife
You have
will.
all the cycles of life.
I
like,
do.
kind
And
of
it's all
happening,
around
you
me.
know.
And I'm not
Yeah.
sure which of them is the best or the worst. I'm not sure where I want to be on this spectrum because I'm not happy
Well-
with this one. But I'm not uncomfortable with I've been in love with the same woman for as long as I can remember. And I love that. But
If
there is a modicum of you kind of even out. After 30 some odd years, there isn't the let's blow out this Wednesday night Valentine's Day.
wow. Well, you know,
Well, you said it
Again.
too. Like the Valentine's Day is for the newbies. Get out there, have some fun. But I'm not
I don't
going to
think it's
deal
for
with
the
the
newbies.
reservations at 7:00. It's just not. I'm not going to fight that.
it's just tough to do anything on a Wednesday. If any
Yeah.
holiday lands on a Wednesday, it's just a tough scene. I mean, it's a difficult proposition to kind of handle from a work perspective, and you know, just because it's a holiday, I mean,
See,
things and all sorts of million responsibilities that have to be tended to and taken care of. So the Wednesday nature of it all is kind of awkward. Kind of crummy move from Valentine's.
well,
We've been on a good heater with holidays as of late. Last year and this year, Christmas
you like
and
the
New Year's.
Christmases working right around holiday. I mean weekends. I don't.
So I like it from a holiday perspective, but in terms of what I do for a living, I hate this.
Yes, I didn't like last year at all.
Because last year the NFL had the Cowboys play on Christmas Eve, which was a Saturday.
Yep.
And this year the NFL had the Cowboys play on Christmas Eve, which was a Sunday. So I'm excited that Christmas Eve and therefore New Year's Eve are entering the rotation of weekday,
Yes.
participation. But the NFL swears that they're not going to touch these holidays when they land on Tuesdays and
Lies.
Thursdays. But yeah,
Lies.
I'm saying that will piss me off even more as if we just get
Yeah.
there, they're like, well, it's Christmas Eve, so we might as well do something. If it were just normal celebration, I think the weekends are cool. But you do lose a day. You know what I mean? Like you lose a day of work, vacation, or whatever when that happens.
I'd much prefer Christmas land on Wednesday.
What was the coolest thing you watched on your television last night?
Last night was awful. It really was. I watched the Aggies lose with a last second shot. And
they had a big, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of a sizable halftime lead.
They played a hell of a basketball game up in Vanderbilt. They really did. It was one of those that you just gave away. They fought hard against a really good Vandy team, and it just you have a shot to lose the game. Bang, it happens, and then it's over. And it's one of those. In my house, things start winding down about 9:00. I'm good. I'm with you till about 10, but after that, I got to go. So that last hour can be filled with both TV and activity in preparation for bed. So we don't always pick something that's worthy of a lot of attention.
What are the activities in preparation?
You know very well.
Laundry? Brushing your teeth?
All that, walking the dog, prepping clothes. I have clothes laid out like I am a firefighter. I have seriously. I have shoes at the seat at my chair. I have the socks laid out by the shoes. I have the belt. I have the clothes laid out in order of order of dawning, like first thing. So when I get to the pants, pull the pants on, I can bend down, put the socks on, shoes are on. I can be out the door.
Like this can come with an instruction manual.
Oh, dude, I can be out by the time I go to bed. I have my merce, my bag full of things, including my drinks and my breakfast. Which, by the way, thanks again for the recommendation for the breakfast thing. It's been wonderful.
You've been enlightened.
Oh man! And so I have that, and then I can be literally out the door from the time the alarm goes off. If I'm not going to shower, waiting for RJ to comment. He didn't. And
well,
see,
you want to go? I didn't want to out you.
You were dazing. I will go to bed without showering. I'm not gonna lie. I'll get up in the morning and shower because sometimes I just need the water on my face to wake up, and that matters even if I showered the night before. But some mornings I wake up like, dude, I got to get some water in my face. So
you are a morning shower. I wash my face in the mornings, to be very clear. But my beef is that you don't clean.
I do sometimes.
before
Others
rest.
I don't. There are some days, no, I do not shower before I go to bed. I will admit. Well, for you it is. For me, it is just another day in my life. As I conserve water, I care about my great planet, young man.
I just think that
I only shower in rainwater.
How are you? How are you comfortable sleeping in your own filth from the day?
See, unlike you, I'm relatively clean. Unlike you, my clothes are clean.
I don't think you
haven't
are.
sweated all day, and if I have sweated, I've already showered. So just
You've
because
got
I didn't
natural
shower when I
sweat
went to bed, if I sweated
and
at some point during the
dead
day,
skin cells all over yourself that you're just climbing into bed with.
see what people are going to very quickly realize is RJ is a bit of a germaphobe.
I wouldn't say I'm a germaphobe. I would definitely say
you're on the spectrum far beyond average.
I would definitely say I'm a control freak, and so like I like to have control. Which is probably like knowing myself. This is more about control than it is some sort of like germ phobia.
It probably at its basis is. I will agree with that.
It's about like routine and necessity for control. The shower just happens to be the detail associated with it at this particular.
I would agree wholeheartedly with that. And knowing that, I like to let him know that, you know what, I didn't shower last night.
Marco says in the brigade bar, this is a grievance. I don't have a grievance. If somebody doesn't want to shower,
have separate lifestyles.
I disapprove of that. I mean, you know what I mean?
That's
I
fine.
think that's weird and, you know, wrong.
Again.
Oh, goodness. Eric says showers in the morning, which you agree with, and socks before pants. That's too far, man. Like,
I do socks before pants.
Dude,
socks are the third thing that I don. Tell me, I'm telling you, I have it in order.
What is second?
The t-shirt.
What a backwards way to go about life, dude.
Well, you want to sit me down bare ass, put on my socks?
No, but I'm like, we all understand what number one is. So that's fair.
It's chones. While I stand up putting on my chones while I'm doing it, right there.
And then it's
my t-shirt, which I'm an old man. I wear a t-shirt. Normally a wife beater of
pants first. Pants before shirt.
What? I got to tuck my shirt in. So I want my shirt on, and then I pull my pants over it. What are you talking about? You're doing it now, son. You need to go take some notes. I want you to go sit in a locker room with a pen and paper, and I want you to watch guys get dressed. And then after you call me to get my brother to bail you out, you can decide how most people get dressed. Because obviously you're an only child, and you got dressed on your own. You learned some things. But you talked
about being a firefighter.
Yes.
I get dressed. The way I get dressed is if like I have to like run out in the event of an emergency. You know what I'm saying? So like my point is if you are, you know, putting your shirt on first and there's an emergency, you're running around in your underwear and you're in a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to me, something happens.
I Porky Pig it all the time.
I've got pants on and I'm shirtless. I'm looking like a hero here. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand that like at a moment's notice, I'm ready to run into action much more efficiently than you are. Chris says in the chat, I absolutely agree with RJ. I could be drunk as crap and still crawl my dirty butt in the shower. No bed before shower. I've been there, Chris.
Good for you.
I even told Rob this. Yeah. I told Rob this a long time ago. No matter what the circumstances are, I will always shower before I get into bed. My bed is a purified area.
Pure area.
Rudy Gonzalez says, do you do sock, shoe, or sock, shoe?
I'm not crazy. It's both socks, then both shoes.
That I also disagree with. I think you got to go one full on set. Again, if I have to run out, I can't be in two socks. I have to at least have one shoe.
Well, so half of you is going to be battered immediately, and I have socks and my feet will be relatively protected for it. I'm not running from zombies, dude. I'm getting dressed in the most expedient way possible.
This isn't expedient. It's largely
it is because
if there's no rhyme or reason to it,
let me tell you why. It's about brevity of motion. So if I am putting on my socks, I put them both on. And then once I start putting my shoes on, I'm bent over. So I'm bent over and I don't have to get up, get back down. I'm already bent over. I'm tying both shoes. I'm saving time. Trust me. I have getting dressed down to a science. I'm like a F1 pit crew on the way out. I don't even have to stop walking. I could just don things and be out the door. I even leave my keys in the car.
Oh,
so I don't even have to look for
them. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I live out in the middle of nowhere though. So it's different for me. But
that's horrifying.
I haven't locked my door. I haven't locked my door in forever, but you got to get into my house close to get to it. An unlocked door.
That there's room for improvement in a lot of these things. But my biggest
as a young man, there's I've refined these over hundreds of years.
The shower thing, I can maybe get on board with the the shirt before pants thing. You know what I mean?
Like Porky Pigging it on its own. If you have to run out of your house and you just got a shirt on and nothing else, you will get attention. Somebody will go, I need to pay attention to the dude that's running around like Porky Pig. And if it's an emergency, it'll happen quicker, that you'll get more attention that fast. You're running around without a shirt on. Like, what's that guy doing? You run around looking like Porky Pig. Somebody's calling the cops. And that's probably what you need.
Experimenting with putting the shirt on before the pants.
But I'm a robe guy anyway. So
the shower before bed is non-negotiable. You've got to acknowledge that there are some days where you're sleeping in filth.
See, I care about Mother Nature and our planet, unlike you. It's sad. I bet there are straws in your house. I bet you have straws in your house. I'm a strawless person personally, but I don't care what little one needs. You got to grow up hard, man. Sometimes life's difficult. No straws in our future.
I think that you need to reevaluate your willingness to shower.
And by the way, if you beat the number 7 team in the country, you don't got to run onto the court. It's the number 17 in the country, Syracuse. It ain't the national championship. It didn't knock off UCLA after 10 years of no losing. You beat North Carolina. It's just a barely above average team. Stop.
I'm not advocating for
college
rushing the court.
Kids. Stop rushing the court.
These are just kids having fun, man.
These are kids getting their purple ribbon. We get to celebrate at least once because we had a nice win. You beat a conference rival at home.
Let kids have fun. Why are you so against our youth having fun? And
because I'm a Cowboys, Spurs, and Aggie fan. If I can't have any fun, nobody else can either. How's that? Speaking of them Cowboys.
Some Cowboys things on the docket today.
We got a lot. Mike Zimmer is official, and now he needs to have some help. Some of that help is leaving quickly. He seeks others, and they won't be able to talk to him. We're going to talk about the search for other defensive coaches. We'll look around the NFL, see if Kyle Shanahan is doing any better today. Spurs are taking on Luka and the Mavs tonight. We'll get that ready in silver and black. College football, the playoff, the money, all of that. Let's start appropriately. Coming back, Mike Zimmer has officially announced yesterday, or went Monday. How many official announcements does this really need? Do we need to reaffirm it? Maybe it's when he hires his first assistant. Hey, we'll be right back talking Cowboys. You're on what we like to call the Morning Huddle. He is RJ. I am Rob. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Last night, yesterday, the last several days, actually for weeks on end, I have had to walk miles a day, not only to take my dog around the neighborhood, but to keep myself in physical shape. The Super Bowl last week was a busy and hectic week that I spent a lot of time on my feet. And if I was still 300 pounds, I can't imagine if I could have done it. Again, thanks to Dr. Torres and the Institute for Functional Health for getting me as far as I've gotten. I'm down 75 pounds, man. That's 6 years ago. I waddled into his office thinking, man, this is what life's going to be like, that I'm just old and it's just going to wear out. And I'll tell you what, who'd have thought that I could have done this week what I've been doing? 8-9 miles a day in some of these instances. I kid you not, 27,000 feet or steps last Monday. That's the kind of stuff that I'm now capable. I couldn't even have done. And I'm 6 years older than when I first met Dr. Torres. If you've resolved, I want you to call him. If you've resolved, I want you to find out why so many people have walked into his office, his beautiful place down there in McCullough, just like you, thinking, well, this is it. If this don't work, it ain't going to work for anybody. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to find out what I know it will. I want you to call him today. Number's 210-468-1891. For all the pertinence, I want you to go to iffhealth.com. Great resource, by the way. Call Dr. Torres today. He's going to help get you where you want to go. When you do, I want you to thank me later.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The venue's set. Families coming in from all over. It's our quinceañera. With all the excitement, it may be easy to overlook COVID-19. It's still a risk, and that's why it's muy importante to get this season's COVID-19 shot ahead of time. It helps protect against COVID-19, which can cause severe illness and hospitalization. So let's set the date, vaccinate, and celebrate. Learn about a vaccine option and book this season's updated COVID-19 shot today at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I lock up my Old Spice Fiji aluminum-free dry spray to keep that 24/7 lasting freshness safe for myself. Fresh coconuts, palm trees in the wind. It's like catching waves in Fiji. Actually, I just talked myself into a refreshing spritz of Fiji. My Old Spice is missing! No!
So sticky.
At Hannah's Organic Honey, business may be sweet, but they need an e-commerce queen bee to lead the hive.
Okay, these jars are going to Jakarta. Oh, wait a minute. Does that say Jackson?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on Carol. She's more focused on hitting a high note than the car in front of her. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a click away. Order online and pick up at your local store. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, it's Jason Minnick. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Thanks, Jason. He of the Mighty Blitz. We also like to call him Left Shoe. Make sure you refer to him that way when appropriate. He runs a tight ship up there with Big Fudge.
It's all right.
So we didn't talk. I didn't get a chance to hear the Blitz the last couple of days. Excuse me. I'm a little behind the scenes today. I woke up late. I'm not going to lie to people. We've all had those days where the alarm went off, and I don't know. I guess I turned it off in my sleep. So I'm running about 30 minutes behind. So come about 10:30, I'm really going to be on fire. So I'm a little behind the scenes. But we didn't talk about Friday night. RJ left. He's a good guy. He went home to see his baby. I say both babies. I should say 4 babies. He flew home ahead of time. We went out and hit Fremont Street. Me. I went, Jason, Joe, Jason's lovely daughter, Erica, and we met up with our British friends of Talk Sport. But we did it all up and down Fremont Street. And for those who've been to Vegas, you know that it's the old downtown. And we went to the El Cortez, which is it is the anal end of Fremont Street. You can find $5. Okay. It really is.
Okay.
You go one block past the El Cortez and the world ends. You just fall right off. There's $5 blackjack tables. Or there normally is, but Super Bowl dollar values are doubled, actually tripled. So we found, which is still really cheap, $15 blackjack tables. So we're playing blackjack all night long. And it's hard to make a lot of money playing blackjack at $15 a hand. But if you get on a nice little run, you can make a little bit of scratch. And Joe's doing all right. And we're all doing all right, except for one of us. I'm not going to get into who won and who lost, but except for Joe. Joe, he hit $1,000 in the El Quartet, probably the biggest win of the whole night, that whole place in there. That's just Joe, man. He is a good gambler. But what I mean by that is he looks like a guy who knows what he's doing, and sometimes that's all you need. I'm just letting things out. The Big Fudge is fun.
Big Fudge, you all asked where I came up with that, and this will make sense. It's actually from How I Met Your Mother. And Marshall Erickson gives himself the nickname Big Fudge, or it's given to him at a local pub that he goes to where he's playing skee ball. And he sets the pub record for high score.
Yeah.
And it's Big Fudge's record. So kind of appropriate that Big Fudge would kind of be the big winner.
He's all in on this. Mike Zimmer, it was official yet again, and yet another release from on high. I think today we will see dollar values. I don't know exactly what will be the announcement today, but maybe it'll be the official painting of the plaque that will be sitting on his desk. But
how many coordinators get a press conference like this? I mean, this is so stupid, but it's because he's been around and it's the return home and
there are some storylines. I mean,
who cares? Dan Quinn didn't get a press conference when he was hired.
He didn't?
No. Did Brian Schottenheimer get a press conference last year?
I couldn't pick Brian Schottenheimer out of a crowd. He is a ceremonial title. We got to be real here. But Dan Quinn, I felt like he had a presser. No? Well, that's his fault.
This will be all about his history and blah, 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 blah.
You're so down on this.
I'm
the reason
down on
I
how
bring
we
this
got
up
here.
because I fall on your side. I think that there is this idea behind that, whether Jerry realizes or not, that this isn't going to work out very well. So why invest too much time or effort in what's going to be a miserably long and terrible season as I wave goodbye to at least one or two cornerstones of this franchise? So why exhaust any equity or capital into what is going to be a failing year? It's a business decision. So I'm going to pump up the puffery. I'm going to sell the sizzle, not the steak. And I'm going to do all of that. And then I'm going to get to work. And then I saw something, about, I forget who the writer was. I want to find it. That said kind of the total opposite. That going and getting all this experience showed more of an all-in than a laissez-faire, let's let this play out kind of idea. That the fact that you're willing to bring in what many would call, at least some point in their careers, experts in their careers and their fields, offensively, defensively. Heck, you bring in another former head coach or somebody at DC or defensive line coach, whatever it might be. You're bringing in the wise men to kind of swing for the fences and really put these hundreds of years of football acumen in one last run.
I don't think that that's impossible. Once again, the Zimmer hire could work out very well. I think that there are objective things to like in terms of what he offers. He has had success against Kyle Shanahan-led offenses in the NFL. But again, my main gripe is that to get here, they just called their friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and like, if it works out, like, that doesn't justify the process. And none of the processes that they have taken for the most significant and pivotal decisions that have encircled the franchise over the last 20 years have been purposeful, logical, laid out. There's something to, you talked about how every night before bed, you lay out your clothes. There's a satisfaction when you put them on, however improperly you do, to where you're like, I did this. You know what I mean? Like, I planned this, I put it on, I'm ready to rock, and now I'm ready to kick this day's ass. You know what I'm saying? And so there's, something commendable about that. As opposed to, if you just got dressed in the dark and you showed up in the kitchen with the light on, you're like, this looks all right. Like, I did a pretty good job, stumbled into something legitimate here. Like, that doesn't, you wouldn't say like, I'll just do this again tomorrow because it worked out. That would, you would seemingly be like, I'm very fortunate that, I don't look like a fool. And tomorrow I'll have, more preparation that I'll do in advance because that's the smarter way to go about this.
Well, either way, time's running out. I mean, it is, no matter what, the contracts are going to have to be addressed. And this time next year will certainly be something we're looking at, and we'll get closer and closer to it. We'll follow it.
Pete says in the chat, would you rather have Zimmer or Rex Ryan? I don't think it came down to those two. it seemed to have come down to Zimmer and somebody else. And we were told this by Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com yesterday on Talking Cowboys. And Nick will actually be here in about an hour to explain that and to talk about that, because Nick is obviously plugged in as a member of the mothership.
You know, as we head to break, I want to ask you this question. Think about it, and we'll talk about it when we get back. Why are we talking so much about Kyle Shanahan and what do you do at the end of an overtime in a Super Bowl, and not about Mahomes and the Chiefs and the greatness that we saw? Are we already tired of this? Did we get some Tom Brady fatigue after 20 years of the same thing, and we're worried about dealing with the same thing? Because I don't know why we're not talking about what we saw over the weekend. The ascendance of Pat Mahomes certainly is a much better and more interesting story to me than whether Kyle Shanahan told his backup left tackle what we're going to do if we run out of time in overtime. We'll talk about that coming up. Hey, RJ, go grab some breakfast. I'm going to go grab some coffee. This is the Morning Huddle. We'll be right back here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on the Blitz, now that the Cowboys have their new defensive coordinator, we get to meet him. Mike Zimmer press conference coming up.
Yeah, the Blitz starts at 2. That's when the press conference is scheduled. We'll bring it to you live. Plus, we'll get you ready for Spurs Mavs. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Pork rinds pack a protein punch and are the boldest low-carb snacks out there. Skip the chip and try Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds for that ultimate crunch. And with flavors that will have you craving for more, the time to stock up on Southern Recipe at H-E-B is now. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Imagine getting ahead of your irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and get ahead of your symptoms. Talk to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318.
Tax day is coming.
Oh, no.
But if you sign up for Robinhood Gold's IRA with a 3% match, you can get up to $195 for the 2023 tax year.
Oh, yeah.
Sign up at Robinhood.com/boost by tax day to get the biggest contribution match on the market. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save on bulk purchases of select insulation from trusted brands like Green Fiber. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 6 or more select interior pre-hung and slab doors. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good morning to you. That's RJ. I'm Rob. What's your shirt say, RJ? I can't see it from my glasses aren't on.
It says make par, not war.
I'm down.
If those are your two
Mostly
options,
I'm at war because I ain't making par.
Wow.
I'm at war with the course. That's why I hack at it as much as I do. The order of events. What?
I said you can hack at it next month.
I'm planning on it coming up in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Going up to the golf course of Texas, do some recon work, some reconnoiter. It's been a couple of months since I've been out there. It's been a couple of months since I played.
Better get ready.
March 25th, we would love to play with us. That's the our annual spring fun run out there at the golf course of Texas. We will be there March the 25th. To sign up, go to sasportstar.com. We are already over halfway full. I saw we had 20 more sign up yesterday. I think people are figuring it out. They're going to get left behind if they don't. So go there post haste, and while you're there, do all the appropriate stuff with all the contests, because that's why we do this stuff, so you can win it. I got tickets to give away, RJ. I just wanted to make sure that I'm going to give you the right of first refusal on these, because I never know. Your musical taste varies. You've got a wide ranging.
Okay.
Are you a Machine Head fan?
No, not my thing.
You should be.
Somebody else get those.
Because they're coming.
Okay.
It's 4 days from now. They're going to be at the Aztec Theater on their Slaughter the Martyr tour.
Slaughter the martyr.
Yeah.
Most people do want to slaughter martyrs.
That's how you become a martyr.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Really, they've already been slaughtered. Why would you slaughter the martyr? They've already been martyred.
Slaughter them again.
So it's that kind of vengeance that's coming. So if you want those tickets, Morning Crew, get on the phone right now. 656-3776. 656. If you are a Machine Head fan, you deserve to go on us and enjoy the Slaughter the Martyr tour. Seems redundant, but it's all about a good show. If you're caller number 4, I should say 6. We'll make it 6.
Wow.
656. There it is. 656-3776.
Are you
the caller number 6?
I feel like people just moved on. Super Bowl's over. Boom. Like
go open up your favorite sports app, your headline app, where you get your news.
Okay. I'm just gonna go to
just give us the pecking order. What are you seeing? We're at Wednesday, 3 days after the Super Bowl.
Top headlines, ESPN.com. This isn't helping our point. Number one, Shanahan, 49ers made off OT plan before playoffs.
There it is.
Two Magic and Shaq, Curry. There's literally nothing
Mahomes,
about the Chiefs.
No Chiefs, no Super Bowl.
The only Kansas City top headline on ESPN.com is about the Royals and their plan to unveil a new ballpark.
Well, there you go. Another part of the Mahomes effect.
I think.
Is it fatigue or is it? Well, no, it is fatigue. Or I think it might be the fear of fatigue, because I think we get the sense that what was big is getting bigger.
Yeah, I think fatigue has a negative connotation, and so I don't know that people are like mad about Mahomes and the Chiefs or anything like that. But I think people are just even bored is not the right way to put it. But I think people are like, well, I think people are just like,
well,
cool. You did it again. You got number 3. We'll see you for number 4. You know what I mean? We all know it's coming.
I think it's that, but I think it's the brand too, because when it's not just Mahomes, it's Kelsey, it's Swifty. His wife's about to be in Sports Illustrated in the swimsuit edition. It's Andy Reid. It's everything that goes along with this juggernaut. Just got about 50 psi of helium put into it. It's going to expand and rise. We can see it coming.
It feels
I'm tired of it already.
It feels like when the wealthy billionaire gets a piece of stock that just like Like they get Dogecoin when it blows up. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, another thing that they own is worth a lot of money. Wow. What a shock. You know, like it's just, that's how it feels.
But it is ridiculous how big it really is. And let's just consider the Mahomes effect, not the Kelsey Swift thing. That is a whole other thing. I watched the Tech Kansas basketball game. It was Monday night. Right. And Tech had a game of the ages. I mean, if there's ever a time to storm the court, it's that night when you're playing Kansas on the road. And that's not even a time. It's a conference game. But anyway, at the post game, head coach of Tech comes out and they're talking about what a fantastic night. And Pat Mahomes, of course, Super Bowl comes up. He formerly of White House and then of Lubbock Tech. And he talked about Pat Mahomes, the Mahomes effect on the Texas Tech basketball team. He's an intermediary with a brand new shoe deal with Adidas and this unveiling that's coming. And just the vibrancy of having Pat Mahomes in your basketball locker room is elevating that. You just said the Kansas City Royals are about to unveil a new ballpark. I promise you, in the periphery of this is Pat Mahomes. He is raising the tide for everybody that just has a small piece of the Chiefs. It really is quite amazing.
I do. I believe that they are building. So he and his wife own or co-own. I don't know the exact legality of it. The NWSL team.
Yeah, I knew that.
Mm-hmm. And they're building a new stadium too, I believe.
See?
No, I mean he is. I mean it's all sports related, but this like goes beyond the. And I actually saw Peter Schrager making this point on the beginning of Good Morning Football today, because today is the Kansas City parade, obviously, for the Chiefs. So you've got in the span of the last just call it a year, you know, they had one parade for the Chiefs, obviously, after winning Super Bowl 57. And so that happened. And then the Royals are really bad, but they have Bobby Witt Jr. and they signed him to like a mega extension. So you've got the future of Royals baseball, and now you've got the new stadium happening. They were given, I don't know how many World Cup matches. It wasn't quite as many as AT&T Stadium, but they received a lot there in Kansas City. There's a very strong soccer presence there, as indicated by the NWSL team. You've obviously got the Chiefs, and they're thriving, continuing, and another Super Bowl. I mean, he has really elevated this. I mean, I don't know if you agree, but like when I was growing up, like it was like Kansas City. Where's that? I mean, even when Tyrann Mathieu signed
with Missouri,
him,
by the way.
Well, I know. Well, that's what I was going to say. When Tyrann Mathieu signed with him like 5 years ago, he tweeted like, Kansas, I can't wait to like be there. And everybody was like, dude, you know, this is really awkward. But so my point is like, it was kind of this, you know, random, like you like to use the term flyover town. And he is turning it into a sports metropolis, like because of the success. I mean, that's where that's one of the things that distinguishes it from the Patriots dynasty is Boston was already this sports mecca. Mahomes is elevating an entire city and region, you know, with him, which is really just cool to watch.
I hate to bring comparisons, but I do want to talk potentials.
Oh no,
Wemby has the potential to do that with San Antonio.
Oh,
because
on a global scale,
yes, because Tim of his era and the champions of it was a different era. The money is different, times are different, scope is different. And Wemby has the ability, if things happen the way to do for this area, San Antonio and Austin, what Mahomes is doing for Kansas City. The possibilities are there because he's here. And I think that there's, if you're not a part of that, I don't want to. Why? I'd much rather talk about Kyle Shanahan and his inability to make a decision to kick off in overtime. Or his poor decision making. That's so much easier than looking at the what will be a story of good news. For that good news is not going anywhere. We'll talk about all the good stuff Pat Mahomes is doing in May, after the draft, after all the other stuff, when we're doing the feel good stories. But right now, this is a whole lot more fun.
Well, because the only new thing is this, you know, like the Mahomes thing is like, oh, Mahomes is great. We knew that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, Mahomes had a last second drive to, you know, in the clutch to tie the game and send it to overtime, and then another one to win the Super Bowl. Wow, like I've never seen that before. You know what I mean? So the new thing, the new juicy fruit, not the gum, is, you know, the Kyle Shanahan collapse, which is, you know, a lot of fun to see, obviously. But it's very interesting to watch this this new sports mecca being born before our eyes, and I'm really jealous.
Hunter
also,
Hitch,
I wanted
down.
to say really quickly, Hunter Hitch says in the chat, KC fans saying we're the real America's team, blah, blah. But he said something that I wanted to hit on. He said, someone please give that label to them so they can deal with the avalanche of hate for the next 30 years. Hunter hit the nail on the head as to why Cowboys fans, I would say from the age of around 45-ish down, hate the team. Because if you're of that age, your entire life, you have dealt with the price of being America's team without any of the glory. You know what I'm saying? Like you have dealt with nothing but the retribution for what came before you, and there's a lot of benefit, obviously, in terms of attention and prestige and whatnot, but you have none of the success. So you've only had to deal with the crap. You haven't gotten any of the good.
You could sum up the entirety of the baby boomer Gen X relationship in that very statement. When we come back, you hit the nail on the head in a variety of societal issues, right there. You suffer a lot of these, you never saw it. At least I got to celebrate a little bit of it. Hey, coming back, Shaq's numbers hanging up there in Orlando. Finally, it was retired last night. What the hell's going on in Orlando? We'll look at what they did. Silver and black talking 7. Spurs are taking on the Mavs. The new look Mavs. Are the Spurs new look as well, as Wemby's going on an all-star level kind of run? We'll be right back. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The boys are back from Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
You heard the big game on Sunday, and the boys made it back thanks to AA Best Bail Bonds and presented by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Synergenics. Next year, it's off to the Big Easy on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Do you have failing or missing teeth? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctors Implants.
I had missing teeth, I had crowns, I had partials.
There was no way I was going to walk into my bathroom every morning to see my teeth in a container.
At Doctors Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile.
Over the past decade, the Roof Hub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the UFC fights, and when you show up at the Roof Hub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. The Roof Hub is next to the Angry Elephant and in the same plaza as the Big Blind there at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roof.
Now is the best time to buy a Connecticut water softener. With current models being closed out to make way for the new ones, you can save big. Call Connecticut at 656-PURE and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you. That's 656-PURE.
My daughter is normally a little goofball, but after a bad night's sleep, she's too tired to be anything. That's why I trust Pure Z's Kids. Pure Z's Kids is mindfully formulated just for kids. Their non-habit forming, drug-free products help my daughter fall asleep naturally, giving her the rest to be her best.
I'm a dinosaur.
Her best dinosaur.
Pure Z's Kids, for ages 4 and up when needed. Explore our products at zquill.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Get ready. This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now, during Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs. That's up to $180 off desk chairs, up to $180 off computer chairs, and up to $180 off gaming chairs. So hurry into Staples now for the Staples Sit-a-thon and grab a seat. or 2. Ends 3-2. In-store only. See associate for details.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
Join Macy's and UNCF to help students fulfill their potential now during Black History Month. Throughout February, you can fund scholarships for students at historically Black colleges and universities when you donate online to UNCF. Or round up your Macy's store purchase up to 99 cents and donate the extra change. Give back today, shop Black-owned brands, and find out how we're creating brighter futures for all at Macys.com/purpose.
Nothing says I love you like romantic, timeless jewelry. Even better when you can save an extra 20%. Right now at Diamonds Direct, all fashion favorite jewelry is 20% off. That's earrings, bracelets, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry. Get 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. Special financing too. Get her something she can enjoy and appreciate for years to come. A fashion favorite from Diamonds Direct. Shop in-store or online at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
San Antonio is Aggie country. This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let's get wild.
Huddle up! Good morning, Huddle. We got silver and black talk coming just around the corner. I think you heard it here first, although a lot of people talked about it. Wemby's an all-star. Should have been an all-star. We talked about the numbers even before this were all-star caliber. They just weren't going to give him to him because he's a rookie and his team sucks. But
so
the buzz is there.
We have a little bit of a Woj. I wouldn't say bomb.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not sure it's three-note sting, but it's worthy of mention. What do you got?
You see what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I will pretend I don't.
It just dropped in the last literally
I have the X deck.
Look at you. Okay. Well, Woj dropped a story with Ramona Shelburne. It reads over a 24-hour window prior to the trade deadline that included owner-to-owner conversations. The Warriors made an unsuccessful bid to convince the Lakers and LeBron James to consider a trade to pair him with Steph Curry. That would have been cool.
What's that secret society people say that
the
Beyonce? No, Beyonce's part of that crew. If that would have happened, I would have blamed it on that. The what are they called? Illiterati? Something like this?
Oh, the Illuminati.
The Illuminati, those guys? That would have been an Illuminati deal. I don't know. There's some higher ups going on there. That would have been weird. That would have been like hiring a former head coach to take over your defense. That'd have been weird. Shaq got his number retired. We're running out of time, and I guess they felt like they were running out of time too. Why does it take what? Shaq's number is just not there. It's not like there was a long line. What?
I mean, they're not the oldest NBA franchise, obviously, but
none.
Seriously, I mean, he hasn't played there in. I mean, he retired 13 years ago. So,
and it was
had time
25 since he was a Magic.
His last season was 95-96.
We'll do our math. No, that's 20. Yeah. We'll do our math and come back talking silver and black. The All-Star break is upon us with the Spurs stack a couple of wins taking on the Mavericks. We'll dive deep. Coming up next, he's RJ. I'm Rob. We gather together to huddle. We call it the Morning Huddle every day. Thanks for joining us here on 94.1. Hey, use this free time to go to our our YouTube feed. Watch us live. I'm going to go comb my hair. Look pretty for you. We'll be right back.
$94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for SA Card House. Over there on San Pedro, you know where it is, 13400 San Pedro right there in Bitters. One of my favorite places to go for a lot of reasons. It's not just about the restaurant and the bar, which is a reason to be. It's not just about the atmosphere and the great games and all the prizes that go along with being a San Antonio Card House member. It's a vibe. It's a thing that you get. Whether you're a brand new player, they have brand new classes for you to get you interested in playing, to teach you how to play the game. They got great membership rates. They've got food to serve at great atmosphere while you're playing, or if you just bring your friends and family to play. But it's an atmosphere of success and fun, and that's why I go to SA Card House, and that's why you need to give them a try. Go check out their website, sacardhouse.com, but you're not going to know until you go. It's a private social club waiting for you to come and play. It's at Bitters in San Pedro. It is my SA Card House. Head there today. Thank me later.
Folks, there's nothing romantic about home repairs, but when your plumbing has lost that love and feeling and your AC is about to achy break your heart, call Quarterman Plumbing, Heat, and AC at 210-651-5899. We'll fix the issue fast at a great price with a servant spirit.
Joel, this is a special Valentine gift from me to you.
Yeah, but why are your arms red?
I got a deal on this plant for your office.
That's poison ivy, Nigel.
It's what?
Quartermoon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, 210-651-5899.
License number M16004.
DACLA 000743458.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on Carol. She's more focused on hitting a high note than the car in front of her. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-294-0222. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-294-0222. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-294-0222. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. Hey, if you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com.
This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for Aggies basketball.
All the way to the basket, laid up and in, counted and one.
KTFM Floresville, San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs are looking to stack a couple of wins after a phenomenal performance from Victor Wembanyama. They will head into Dallas to take on the Mavericks in the last game before the All-Star break. Luke and Wemby will face off tonight at the American Airlines Arena, tip at 7:30. In other news, former Spur Bryn Forbes arrested Tuesday morning and charged with assault of a family member.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
How good do you want to be? From play one to the last play, we fighting. Today's about opportunity and character. We got a chance to come out here and play football. It's a blessing. Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest. Let's go, baby.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here are the guys.
Hey, huddle up. We got something to talk about. That's RJ. I'm Rob. This is the Morning Huddle. We are talking silver and black as we do every day at 7 o'clock. But in 30 minutes, we're going to be joined by Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com. Great guy. Got some interesting news as we talk about the process behind after Zimmer got here, how he got here, the hiring process with the assistant named Dirty, who's now gone. We're going to talk about that with Nick, who's inside there up at DallasCowboys.com. But first, in our daily silver and black, when last we saw the Spurs, they gave us what I would have called like shooting a birdie on the 9th hole going into the clubhouse. Just enough where you go, I could easily just grab my bag and go home. It's been a tough first 9. I've been here for 2.5 hours. I'm beating this place to death. I left my 5-iron back on the 3rd hole. I'm almost out of balls. I'm about to go home after this hole. I'll be darned you don't lay up with your 5-iron and you plunk right there on the green and you putt in a nice little 6-foot break putt. You're like, you know what? I think I'm going to hang around for another 9 holes. I think that's what these couple of games could do for me as we head into the All-Star break.
If I move back a little bit, I think people talk about the analogy you just brought up, but like with the end of a round, you know what I mean? And the Timberwolves win was kind of like, you hold out for Eagle on the 18th hole of a round, right? You were like, this game rules. I could totally play golf. I could go pro. If I really tried, I could be amazing at this. And so, you were kind of living off that moment, and you spent the whole next week kind of reflecting on it, texting your friends, and you booked another round. And we just, every game before, But
this round ain't over. We're only halfway through.
That's what I'm saying. Every game before Toronto was like the first 8 holes, and you were just hacking it all over the place. And you were like, oh, man, this was nothing like the round I remembered. And then to your point, the Toronto game was kind of like that 9th hole, before the turn, where you're like, okay, I found it. You know what I mean? I found what I just spent those first 8 holes were just me processing, me figuring crap out. And here I am. I understand the game now. We've gotten our hot dog. We've gotten our burger because hot dogs are actually terrible. We've gotten some chips and a power bar and a sports drink, a soft drink, whatever. And we're ready to go for the back 9. Although I don't think it'll go well at all.
When you're a Spurs fan recently, especially this year, you have to choose how you root for your team because you can't root for the team. They suck. They've got 11 wins. That's miserable. So you got to root for a guy. Wemby's the guy we've been rooting for. We got a little payoff the other night, the triple-double in the fastest time anybody's ever done it. And then they combined that with a win. I mean, it was nice to combine my rooting for Wemby, the guy, the jersey, the number, with the name on the chest at the same time. It's nice to be able to cheer for both because that's what I've been waiting on for so long. And as we head into the All-Star break, I told you yesterday, Pop has a sense of the season. This ain't his first rodeo. He's been to a few about timing. And I just feel like he had warmed Wemby up to go, this is how this is going to go. I'm going to put you in a situation to where you're going to go nuts. And we're going to get this going for you heading into the All-Star weekend because I get the sense the snowball is starting to grow. This is Brian Windhorse of ESPN and the lamprey to LeBron talking about Wemby's presence.
He has not exceeded my expectations because this is what I expected him to do.
Wow.
Because I thought he would be an impact player right away. He's averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks a game in 29 minutes. 29 minutes because he's been on a minute restriction. And last night, by the way, he did all that in 29 minutes. Okay, here's the other thing. The thing that you're probably going to say is that he has trouble shooting.
I wasn't going to say nothing like that.
Well, in the last 13 games, he's shooting 39% on threes. The three-point shot is getting better. And he does turn the ball over. Now, that is a legitimate problem. They got to do something about that. He's got to get better there. But he is only scratching the surface of what he can do.
The unveiling is upon us. Brian Windhorse on the jump.
So 32% from three on the season. Not great, but I think Windy's been one of the more people think what they do about him, and he's obviously kind of a character with his analysis. I don't mean to say that it's not serious, but he's often one of the more rational people. I wish that, maybe his colleague Zach Lowe could listen to him.
Right.
And especially if you're out here backing Chet Holmgren, who RJ took higher on 1.5 3-pointers on Monday night in underdog and lost. So, not bitter or anything like that, but I agree with this. I mean, like, we expected greatness. I don't know that we expected like these stupid, unbelievable, impossible things like what we saw on Monday night with the triple-double, involving the 10 blocks. But, we celebrated the way we did for a reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
like we thought that this dude was going to be all time, all class, and he's proving to be so far.
The weekend should be fun. Now, he won't be alone. Jeremy Sohan, a late addition to the Rising Stars, and an apt one. I mean, he'd already done that, and I think the NBA recognized and also heard Greg Popovich plead to let him in, because I think that was an apology when he came out and said that he couldn't believe why Sohan hadn't been invited, because I think it was an admittance that he put him in a bad position. But here we sit. And then we have the opportunity to beat a Maverick team that is, renewed. They were busy during the trade deadline. The matchup tonight with Sohan and Luka is going to be fun.
You think it's going to be fun?
I do. I mean, I do. I think that the Spurs, I know Pop. This was, they had a couple of days off of practice. They came off that. They weren't quite square yet as the trade deadline hit. A thorough thrashing on the road, and they're coming home. All but two of these guys get a 4-day break, 5-day break. Shoot. Against the arch rivals, a team that's just kind of getting to know each other. I think there's a potential here for a very good basketball game.
I would love to believe that. It's just kind of hard to. I mean, the Mavs are kind of finding themselves. You know what I mean? And that's a little worrisome. I mean, not worrisome, but I mean, they feel like they're in a different place. Like, let me ask this: how quality of a win would this be in your mind?
Oh, right now,
right now, like,
it would be a B-level win for us.
Wow.
Luka, Kyrie, Josh, Grant Williams, Derek Lively. They're better. They're more talented. They just made a couple of moves that it kind of put Luka in a situation where now he is able to kick to guys that are willing to wait for it. They don't have to mess around with some of the logs that they had dealt with. I think that this is a team that's also in a good situation, that they feel themselves kind of rising to the second half run, because what I've seen as far as player ball movement over the last couple of games, post move, Luka's looking like a reborn dude. I like Daniel Gafford, the way he's playing. PJ Washington is this is a team that I think is going to, they're not a contending team.
Talk about the Spurs or the Mavs?
The Mavs. They're not a contending team, but they're going to win a couple of games in the playoffs. But they're not Denver quality. This is a good solid B win on the road coming home for an All-Star break.
Dallas falls into that box we talked about yesterday, though. I think that if they got hot, I mean, it's like there's a handful of people on earth that if, we get to the playoffs and they're just hot, like it could totally be their time. And Luka's one of those people. You know what I'm saying? Like you could totally ride the Luka wave.
Averaging 34, 8, 9, almost 2 steals a game. Yeah, that's the kind of guy who can carry you. Watch Derek Lively tonight. The matchup with Derek Lively and Wemby. Lively's not huge, but he's got a lot of bounce to it. It's the kind of guy that if Wemby plays his Euro game, he can take advantage of. But sometimes I see guys bounce in front of Victor, and he's kind of surprised at how high they can get. So I think even at 7'3", his shot gets a little altered because he's just not used to some of the athleticism of the guys that are almost his size. And Lively's the kind of guy that can do that. That should be a fun look-see as well to see the matchup defensively there. But watching Sohan tonight, I think it's going to be the kind of game that Sohan's going to go kind of try to make a name for himself. Tie his shoes a little bit tighter tonight. Maybe a new fresh dye job, little ice cream flavor going on.
That would be pretty sad.
Have you seen have you been to an HEB lately?
I mean, I go to HEB all the time.
Have you been by the dairy section where they have the statue, the cutout of Wemby? I say statue, the cardboard cutout.
Did you take it home?
I would. But I will tell you this. I don't think it's as tall as he is. I think he's shortening.
You think that the cardboard cutout
is not true to size? I think that, they're feeding this narrative that I don't want to be known as some dude that's like 7'6", or because I've stood next to him, and I think that the cardboard cutout is a bit shorter.
I mean, it's pretty. I don't know that
Durant's the same way. Remember, he's always been 7'1", but he likes to be listed at 6'11". Doesn't we want to be known as a 7-footer? And what that connotes and connotates, and I think that Wemby's of the same mind. I don't think he wants to be known like 7'3", 7'4". There's been other dudes, but you start talking about 7'6". I like talking about Game of Thrones kind of stuff. Like, this is genuinely getting out of hand.
I think KD has been able to get away with that lie a little bit more easily. You know what I'm saying? Like if you squint, you could be like, I could buy that he's not quite 7 feet. You know what I mean? Like, Wemby's impossible to believe that.
You believe that until you stand next to Durant. You go 6'11".
They're saying it's not as imposing from a visual standpoint as Wemby's height is. And that, I mean, the dude had 10 blocks without breaking a sweat, and it's not because he's sub 7 feet. You know what I'm saying? Like it's his height is a weapon, and it's really cool to see how comfortable he uses it.
Another thing that struck me the other night, and Edwin, I'm going to give you a chance to go dig it up. There, in the post game, when they asked Wemby about the respect that he's starting to get from other players and the triple-double itself. Do you know the one I'm talking about, Derek? I mean, Derek, Edwin, because there's something in there that I think needs to be brought up again, because I heard the highlight this morning as they're getting ready for the All-Star game, and they were highlighting Wemby's 29-minute triple-double. And I heard the sound yet again post-game of him talking about the 10 blocks and the way that he got the do you know which one I'm talking about, Edwin? Let's see if we can put this up.
The intimidation
one. Play this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fact, and it's getting harder to block shots as well. So I had to make that extra effort tonight, and because less and less people go at me, in the ring. But yeah, it's intimidation I can see it happen.
He's an uncomfortable intimidator.
He doesn't have the same kind of swagger that some people do, like intimidation swag. He's got his own definite swag, but there is like a cutthroatness to intimidation that he's still learning. I mean, he hasn't even played 50 games in the NBA yet. You know what I mean? Nobody needs to freak out. I don't think he really needs to try to intimidate people. Dude just put up a cool 29-minute triple-double with 10 blocks. I mean, I think that, the game is speaking for itself in the intimidation department.
But when you think of shot blockers, most guys that block shots, that is the A thing that they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how they got here. That's why people love them. And that's what they're going to do. And they're going to tell you how good they are. They're the Mutombos that are going to wave the finger. Wemby's kind of like I'm going to hang in the back. If you want to get in the paint, I'm going to get it, but I'm not going to be scary about it, and play. When you have a guy that's threatening, you think about it first, but Wemby gets you from 10 feet away. I mean, you get into the lane and you think you're safe and he comes and gets you. That's the kind of creeping dread that the league is starting to feel. It's starting to feel. And as they start to feel that, they're going to be giving him respect. Listen to what he said about his performance the other night. And what he brings up first.
as a second thought, yes. But I was trying to win first. But yeah, almost got a quintuple double with turnovers.
Pause it right there. See the first thing he brought up? He was self-deprecating. He had the fastest triple-double in the history of the NBA. And the first thing he brought up, the first was his turnovers. That's the first thing that guy got brought up. He had just
He's
done
a humble
something.
guy.
Yes. So there's yet another reason to go, man, oh man, I'm glad that guy's ours. Man, oh man, we got us another one.
There are certain players who are dreams to root for, who are just dreams of favorite players for your team. Patrick Mahomes obviously kind of falls in that category.
Absolutely.
And the reason people are dreams as opposed to just like great is because they're great off the field. Like Patrick Mahomes is just the coolest dude. You know what I mean? To be like this all-world talent. Steph has kind of been that way. Now these people are annoying, obviously, if that's not your team. But Wemby is, that guy for the Spurs specifically. And for, what we value as basketball fans, Spurs players. It was like he was built in a lab to be not just a global NBA superstar, but one that plays for the San Antonio Spurs specifically.
We'll see yet again. Can they stack two in a row? It would be a nice send-off as a little break as we head into the All-Star weekend. We'll continue talking Spurs and look around the rest of the NBA as things are forming up for the stretch run. But first, hey, Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com is going to join us. The decision about the defensive coordinator came down to Zimmer and one other dude that ended up becoming the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. Nick's going to join us and talk about the process behind how Zimmer was in and Aiden Durde was out. Very interesting conversation, and that's coming next. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be fun. You're on the Morning Huddle, and he's RJ, and I am Rob. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, now that the Cowboys have their new defensive coordinator, we get to meet him. Mike Zimmer press conference coming up.
Yeah, The Blitz starts at 2. That's when the press conference is scheduled. We'll bring it to you live. Plus, we'll get you ready for Spurs Mavs. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Show your love this Valentine's with exquisite fashion jewelry from Diamonds Direct and save an extra 20%. Now through Valentine's, all fashion favorites at Diamonds Direct are on sale. All earrings, all bracelets, all necklaces, stackable bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and more. Lots of romantic and timeless gifts for under $500. Special financing available too. Don't miss this. An extra 20% savings on all fashion jewelry favorites at Diamonds Direct. Shop in store or online at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Jason Minix here. Guys, your testosterone levels start to decline in your 30s. If you're feeling a lack of energy and drive, it could be caused by low T. Get your levels tested at Synergenics. They make it quick and easy, and with the convenience of their on-site lab, you'll get your results back at your first visit. At Synergenics, you will get customized care from testosterone specialists. Conquer your New Year's resolutions. Go to fixmylowt.com to book online. That's fixmylowt.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99, only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H-Test versus API SP test limits.
Hey, it's Boost Mobile here with a great deal to keep you connected. Now, when you switch to Boost, you get 4 lines for $100, plus 4 free 5G smartphones like the Galaxy A15 or the Moto G Stylus 5G. We're here to bring you the best phones on America's largest 5G networks, so you can get after it. Switching is easy. Just head to your local Boost Mobile store. That's 4 lines and 4 phones for $100, only at a Boost Mobile near you. Requires port-in auto pay and ID verification. Available in select markets only. Other restrictions apply. See participating stores for details.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline, 800-262-2917. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-262-2917 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. That's 800-262-2917 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-262-2917.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's James Spudger with San Antonio Sports Star. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative and non-surgical drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain from arthritis or injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk, run, play, and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
This is Joe Reinagle from The Blitz. You're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, huddle up. We got something to talk about. Good morning, Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. That's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. Well, the press conference is scheduled for today. There'll be 2 or 3 press releases before that as the building anticipation to the announcement that Mike Zimmer will become the next defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's talk with Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com about the process, how we got here. It's going to be an interesting one. We're glad you are here with us. Good morning, Nick. Thanks for taking some time out.
Yeah, absolutely. How are we doing, fellas? Good,
man. RJ brought it up. How many times do we need to talk about Zimmer being the defensive coordinator, from the announcement to the initial announcement, to the near confirmation, to the confirmation, to the contract talks, to the, yes, there is a contract, to the announcement that the contract is signed, to the press conference? What a strange and ongoing buildup to what seems to be kind of a fallback hire.
Yeah, talk about being processual. I think going through every step of the process has been more evident here than ever. But yeah, they came to with the conclusion on Thursday night last week that Mike Zimmer would be at least the front office's choice, with the Joneses and Mike McCarthy, and even the other coordinators were involved in those meetings. John Fossil, the special teams coordinator, and Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, came to that decision on Thursday night. And then Jerry Jones, he was in Las Vegas dealing with the NFL honors, doing some Super Bowl events, attending some sponsoring events. And then over the weekend, just kind of got lost in those things. And negotiations were definitely still ongoing. They had to come to an agreement, and then finally were able to do that on Monday afternoon when everyone was back in their rightful homes and their right minds, I guess you could say. And then we're able to get this thing done on Monday. But yeah, today the press conference will be Mike Zimmer and Mike McCarthy. Obviously, the first time that we'll have the opportunity to talk to Zimmer since being back in Dallas, but also the first time we'll be able to talk to McCarthy since that end of season press conference and the days after the loss to Green Bay. So definitely a lot to look forward to today for sure.
That's a great point, Nick, about McCarthy. I know you and everybody else will ask some interesting questions to kind of glean some insight into what has been going on for the last month or so. I just want to jump right into it. You had a point yesterday on Talking Cowboys where you said, I don't want to put words exactly in your mouth, but that you could speak confidently that it may have come down to Zimmer or Aiden Dirty as, you know, the potential final 2 options for the Cowboys. Do you view these, because I was thinking a lot after I saw you say this, as I want to say like diametrically opposing sort of options, but Obviously, Aiden represents a young, newfound, granted unproven path, whereas Zimmer, I think we're all willing to understand that Mike is in a situation, Mike McCarthy, that is, where he maybe needs some more stability given the contractual years surrounding him. I don't want to call it the safe choice because that there's an implication there that it's negative, but is it fair to kind of look at these as two different things in those sort of capacities?
Yeah, I think those capacities weren't necessarily taken into account whenever they were deciding between these two. I'll say this, as far as Aiden Dirty goes, and defensive line coach for the Cowboys, who's now defensive coordinator in Seattle, he impressed a lot of people with his interview last Monday. He was one of the first candidates that was interviewed. He was the in-house candidate that was interviewed. It was initially expected that it was going to be him and Joe Witt that were going to be the candidates, and Joe Witt goes to Washington, takes that DC job before his interview, and then Dirty knocks his out of the park. And from what I told, he really impressed a lot of people. Still relatively young, but also 44 years old, has a lot of experience and skin on the wall as far as what he can do from a defensive standpoint, both up front and just kind of understanding scheme. And from what I was told, that was the part that really impressed a lot of people with his interview. Then he goes to Seattle later in the week, and Mike McDonald even said it last week. He said, coming into the interview, I knew about Aiden Dirty, but was very limited, hadn't really met him. But then when we had the interview with him, I was so impressed. I was not expecting what he was able to bring to the table. And then sure enough, they go ahead and pin him as their defensive coordinator choice for the Seahawks. So I think he's going to be a very good coordinator up there in the NFC West. I think it was an option that the Cowboys definitely looked into and exhausted that opportunity, but eventually fell onto Mike Zimmer. I mean, obviously, he's got the years of experience going back to 1994 as an NFL assistant. He has experience as a head coach. I think that was probably the biggest thing that helped Zimmer in this case. They were looking for that former head coach, defensive coordinator, and they're going to get him in Zimmer.
Why were they looking for a former head coach, defensive coordinator, as we are joined by Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com? Why a former head coach? What made that important?
Yeah, I haven't really gotten a straight answer on that completely. I think, though, with the experience that brings, I think it's more so of a McCarthy thing as well. Whenever you look at what they did in 2021, it was a very similar approach whenever they ended up falling on Dan Quinn as their choice. Just being able to have that experience to be able to just take control of an entire
right?
defense. Like, hey,
just go do it.
Just go do it. I don't even have to worry about that side of the ball. And I think with a former head coach, that's just kind of easier to be able to do, right?
Nick, I'm a little bit slower to kind of buy into the, and you mentioned this right after on that same episode of Talking Cowboys, the hard ass nature, whatever that Zimmer offers. I mean, I'm just, maybe I'm really jaded right now, and I'll cope myself into, buying all the way in by the time, we're all at Oxnard, but that just seems like a football cliche right now to me. Do you put legitimate stock into that? And there's, you can describe that more eloquently than I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Mike Zimmer, he brings that type of kind of old school philosophy as far as, hopping on guys and trying to get the best out of them. And, Isaiah Stanback even said it on the show yesterday. Like, he's not there to be anybody's friend. He's there to be, a little bit more of an aggressive force in that way. But, that was kind of the debate we had on the show yesterday. Does that style of coaching work today? Can he still do that? From what I know, every stop that Mike Zimmer has made, that hasn't gotten in the way of him still winning and him still producing solid defenses. I think with this defense, I think it could really help, especially with any new faces that they bring into the building. I would anticipate that there's a couple of new ones that, will be here by the time we talk here in a couple of months after free agency and the draft. So I think it really could help as far as getting the most out of them. And, last year we talked about them needing to improve discipline on the defensive side of the ball and physicality. I think both of those things are going to be emphasized with Mike Zimmer and just kind of his coaching style. Discipline, I don't even think you worry about that. You think about all of the lining up offsides,
right,
or the personal fouls, really bad instances. I think there's probably maybe a little bit more that you get out of that with Mike Zimmer's coaching style. But, to be honest, man, I don't think anyone should be buying in until they see the product. I think with Mike Zimmer, he's been out of the league for 3 years. You have to be able to know what he brings from that scheme standpoint. You have to know what he brings from a pass rush standpoint. I think that's going to be really important as well. I think until we see the product, whether that be in the preseason or the regular season, take that opinion for yourself and then buy in at that time.
Nick, a non-Mike Zimmer question for you. You also mentioned, and yeah, I know you were just kind of talking and conversing and things like that, how you would be shocked if the Cowboys brought back the same 5 starting offensive linemen in 2024. Who do you think, just pontificating, guessing, talking right now, who's the most likely odd man out? Is it Tyler Biadasz probably getting paid somewhere, or is it them maybe finally deciding to officially move on from Tyron? Because I could see either path, maybe even both paths potentially being ones they take.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I just had a conversation yesterday where it's just kind of with a fellow coworker, and we're like, which one is this going to be? I think it's going to be one of the tougher decisions that this front office will make this offseason, because you look at, let's say that they decide to go, this is just for example, let's say they decide to go with Tyler Biadasz and bring him back from free agency this next year and let Tyron Smith walk and go to a different destination. With that in mind, you would have to go get one of these great tackles in the first round, where a guy that can come in and start at left tackle and be ready to go. Well, let's say you get to pick 24 and something happens, and a lot of those tackles that you really liked are off the board by that point. I think there's a lot of different equations and situations that they have to work out and be okay with whenever it comes down to free agency and whatever they come out of it with. And if they're not able to be able to slide in a day one starter in a place that they have a hole in, how do you kind of work with that as well? So I really do think it's an either or situation right now. It's still a situation that everyone is feeling out. I know a couple of weeks in Mobile, that was still part of the evaluation process as far as what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, Will McClay, personnel department in general, we're trying to figure out is just, answers to those kinds of questions. And I think now, after the focus of getting a new defensive coordinator in the building here the next couple of weeks, getting his staff filled out, I think once Combine comes around and those weeks after that, that's probably when you have a little bit more direction. But, man, free agency is crazy. A lot of things can go either way.
Nick Harris at DallasCowboys.com sitting with us. It's going to be interesting to balance out the all-in idea with what's going on here. Do we have an idea how long Zimmer's contract's going to be for?
From what I've been told, it's going to be a short-term deal, if not 2 years, 1 year. And that's kind of how you look at it. As far as the all-in approach, I think that was I think you could partially attribute the former head coach bringing him in as a defensive coordinator to that idea. But again, that's just kind of the how you look at it and the way you view it.
Tell us about Dirty a little bit more, because it appears, at least by the timing, that he'd have taken the Cowboy job over the Seahawk job if offered. Does that feel appropriate?
Yes, I believe that. You look at the timing of everything. Thursday night, Zimmer goes down, and one of the first things Friday morning is Dirty getting announced for Seattle. I don't want to put situations in people's mouths, but you would have to kind of look at that timing and understand that with the experience that Dirty had in Dallas and how he was able to get the best out of certain guys. Like, you could look at Micah Parsons. There's an attribution there as far as what he was able to do and unlock from him from a pass rush standpoint, but also Osa Odigizua and Dorrance Armstrong, what he was able to get out of those guys. So, I think Dirty, he's a player's coach. He's going to coach hard, but he's also going to kind of give you the tough love at the end of the day. I think he's somebody that players flock to, and they get behind. In the locker room after the loss to Green Bay, I mean, he was the one that was going around and consoling guys more than anything. There was shock on pretty much everybody's face. I don't think anyone expected that to happen, especially in the fashion that it happened. But Dirty was one of the ones that was going up to players and, giving them that love immediately. So he's a player's coach. He's a guy that Seattle's going to fall in love with.
Real quick, this is just supposition. Do you think the Cowboys are going to regret not hiring him? Is this a guy that feels like he's going to be a star?
I think with what the Cowboys need right now, and you look at the experience that Zimmer has, it's tough for me to say if anybody would regret the decision, but I think that everyone's comfortable with the decision that was made. Dirty would have to come in, create an entire different, scheme, and you're expecting things different from Dan Quinn as well. And, that's the experience that he has. It's under Dan Quinn. He was in Atlanta with Quinn, and he came to Dallas with Quinn. So that's what he knows from a scheme standpoint. And I think whenever you ask the fan base, after the last few games and the way things went down from a run defense standpoint, especially with him emphasizing things up front, I think the fans would get kind of feel a redundant feel with Aiden Dirty whenever he did bring that scheme to the table. I think with what Mike McCarthy wanted, with what this team needs, it's somebody that can truly just handle the defensive side of the ball. And it's not necessarily saying that Aiden Dirty could not. It's just the fact that he had never been an NFL coordinator before. He had never been an NFL head coach, obviously, before. So there'd be a little bit more of, evaluating and keeping an eye on those sides of things. Whereas Mike Zimmer comes in, 8 years of experience as a head coach, double-digit years as a coordinator. There's less that you have to worry about in bringing him in and what he can control. I think that's probably more so what you look at there.
I think that's really well said, Nick. Again, nothing against Coach Dirty, but it does feel like Zimmer has a higher floor, or a floor you're more willing to bet on. I mean, again, that's not a knock on Coach Dirty by any stretch. Last one for you. Now that the defensive coordinator dust has officially settled, or will settle later on this afternoon, and we can kind of, not have that command all of our attention, what do you think we shift towards? Is it the contractual discussions around Dak, Mike, and CD? Is it free agency in general? Because we're that dumb. We need something to just completely and totally absorb all of our attention and energy. Squirrel.
Yeah, we need something to complain about, RJ. That's the next thing. No, I think with once the staff gets filled out for Zimmer, not only him getting officially introduced today, but then hiring a new defensive line coach, getting a couple of more assistants around him that he'll be able to fill. I think after that, you're looking at this draft process and free agency at the same time, seeing where you can get the most out of certain situations. You mentioned the contract situations with Dak, CD, Micah. Dak is going to be a really important one to focus on and see what to do there, because obviously the cap hit is going to be so massive going into 2024. They need that flexibility. They need to be able to restructure that contract. So, and preferably before free agency, so you understand what you're dealing with before March 11th. So I would have to assume that's the big task that's next on the agenda. And then from there, being able to kind of figure out what spots work best for them, both in free agency and in the draft, to be able to maximize both sides of the ball.
Are we getting a sense from Dak's camp what he wants, other than all the money he can possibly shovel in?
No, not necessarily. I think there's an expectation both in the building and with Dak's team that's very similar. I don't think there's going to be problems with that process and by any means. But, I mean, obviously, if you're Dak, you would love to be the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL. And coming off the season where he was second in MVP voting, I think there's a case to be made from his camp. But you kind of see how it all shakes out at the end of the day. I mean, also, I wouldn't be surprised if Dak is a guy that sacrifices a little bit, especially in these early years of his contract, to be able to maximize these teams. I think he understands that the window is not open forever. And we'll just kind of see how that shakes out as time goes on.
He is Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com, on Twitter at Nick Harris DC. You hear him all over Dallas Cowboys properties, including the draft show where you guys are doing a kick-ass job. Well done, Nick. Also, the best Miami Heat fan I know, although as a Spurs guy, there aren't a lot of those. So you're in an exclusive club in that sense, Nick.
My man, I appreciate that.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Have a great rest of the week.
Y'all have a great one.
Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com. I'm looking forward to the waters kind of calming down just a little bit, so you can start to get a lay of the land, because one of the great things about having RJ on with us every day is the insight he has. You told us your first day here, like, guys, that Dak is going to get a contract. You might hate him. It doesn't matter your thoughts, whether he's going to stay long-term or be gone in a couple of years. The contract's coming, and he holds every card. He has all of the leverage.
I mean, I see all the jokes and memes and complaints and musings and limericks, but I mean, look, I'm not a genius. Like this doesn't take, a high level business acumen or anything to understand. This is just simple kind of funneling of information. And I mean, he has a no tag clause, a no trade clause. He literally just finished second in MVP voting, and has arguably a better, resume, or more impressive statistical resume than the dude who won it, in terms of this past season. And so he's up for a new and beyond all of that, they need salary cap space. And he is perhaps the biggest, alleviation that they can, use in that sense. And so, yeah, you can be mad, you can moan and groan, you can whine and complain. it is way, 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 way more obvious than not that he is going to, have all of the money when it's all said and done. And what's more obvious than that, Rob, is people are going to complain. People are going to act like this is different. People are going to just look at the number. They're going to say, "Oh man, he's getting paid $57 million a year." When from a percentage standpoint, it's going to be the exact same thing. Like this isn't new. Like, yes, it's more literal money, but from a percentage standpoint, it's just as much allocation of the salary cap as his current deal was when he signed it, as Joe Burrow's deal was when he signed it, as Jalen Hurts' deal, as Lamar Jackson's deal. Like, this is how the NFL works. It pays to raise your kids to be quarterbacks if they can't be, global soccer players
or sports talk radio hosts.
Wow,
it
Rob makes way more than that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I set an alarm. They could bring it. They could knock down about 18 million off the cap
if they restructure.
Yeah. And I found it. Nick Harris brought up something that also, I'm trying to judge the all-in barometer. I'm going to try to figure out where I am by every move. Are we all in? I mean, is this really a swing for the fences and we'll rebuild the rubble after the year? By the moves here. And when you brought up that one of the starting offensive linemen of what has been good, if not great, over the last couple of years could be gone, if they let one go, obviously to save some money and go draft somebody, and they get 18 million, they're going to have a little bit of money underneath to pay some of the other guys. But is that part of the negotiations too with Dak? Like, I'll give you a break, but you're going to have to pay a lineman to keep me safe.
See, like, I think that is the dumbest thing that people say about, like, oh, well, Dak should, and that's Stephen Jones winning.
Yeah.
Okay, Stephen Jones will constantly say things like, oh,
help us out,
there's
man.
only so much dude, Stephen, it's not Dak's fault that you didn't, because you know what they could have done, Rob, and I've talked about this with you all last year. They could have extended Tyler Biadasz a year ago. They could have gotten in on this. They could have extended Dak a year ago. They could have been ahead. They could have been a year early instead of waiting. Yeah, and that's, this is the price you pay when people turn in all pro caliber, Pro Bowl caliber seasons.
J4 brings up something. Before we're gonna talk about something pretty cool in a second. I didn't mean to interrupt you, RJ.
Yes, you did.
I really didn't, but I want to get to this because he's on the same path that we are on our YouTube scroll. No more trade clauses in the NFL for quarterbacks. This is ridiculous. I agree with that.
I mean, but why? I mean, if you were an agent and you were trying to get a quarterback to be your client and you could get them that's a big deal.
Oh, I agree. No, I'm not. You can't outlaw it. You can't say there's no mores. But it's kind of like if your company gets a union, you deserve it. If your employees are so mad at you that they're going to do this, you probably did some stuff to make them mad at you. And I think if you have to build in a no trade clause, you probably deserve to have to build in a no trade clause. But as a general manager, I would never agree to it. Never, ever.
You say that
ever.
You would. So what if Patrick Mahomes says I want to no trade?
I agree. I agree.
You're saying pop rocks. I'm not saying Dak is Mahomes. I'm just saying, like,
And there are levels of where you buckle, but I think that is the last hold because the no trade clause is exactly why there's free agency on the other side. It's you can get mad at players, but you could also get mad at the no trade clause being about, you know what I mean? That's the last gasp kind of stuff. I would not allow it. I'm with J4 there. Everything to avoid
You're right.
that.
But if you, and I know we got to get out, but if you look at the players who have that, there are players who got their deals when they had inordinate leverage.
Right.
But to your point,
you deserve it. If you get to the point where you got to give it to them, you deserve having to put a no trade clause into it.
That's where the Cowboys have bungled, and we've talked about this many times. They've bungled this Dak negotiation from the very, 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 very beginning. They constantly were behind the eight ball. They constantly not only had little leverage, but had no leverage. They gave it up. Because at some point you've got to bend. Right. So you either have to bend early and overpay and then let that, let the market catch up and pass you, or you have to then concede on things like this. And you have to have no tag clause and no trade clause because you didn't do those things ahead of time. So, yeah, if you want to get rid of this clause, then you got to pay early. I mean, like you can't just have everything go your way. That's not the way this or any kind of business in any sector of life works.
We just taught you a valuable life lesson, kids. We really did. Even billionaires make these kind of mistakes. Hey, coming back, this is a huge day in college football. There's money being discussed with ESPN coming up, but more importantly, the structure of the playoff might be decided here in the next couple of days. Bold new world in college football. We'll talk about where we're going next. This is the Morning Huddle. He's RJ, I'm Rob, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I hope you washed yourself clean this morning underneath a water-softened shower from Connecticut. If you've, like so many San Antonians in South Texas, you understand the value and the wisdom of putting Connecticut in your home. Because not only do you feel the benefits every day, but your pipes are going to last longer, your dish is going to look better, your appliances are going to last longer. You're not going to have to worry about things breaking down and sucking up a bunch of energy because you know what? You don't even plug a Connecticut in. It just works on kinetic energy. I don't know how it works. It just works. And guess what? It saves on salt too because it doesn't have that weird cycling system, a motherboard, a little computer built into those other water softeners have. It just works when you do. You'll buy less salt and you'll never worry about your water softener again. In fact, Mr. Connecticut will tell you, it's the last water softener you're ever going to own. I believe it. Type it. While you sing it, go to ConnecticutSA.com for all the details about this. If you call them today at 656-PURE, they're going to come out and put a Connecticut in your home. It's for you to find out about what I'm saying, just like your neighbors did. You're going to find out that it is the best water softener you could have in Central and South Texas. Call them today at 656-PURE, and for the next 90 days, you'll enjoy the luxury of having the very best. And on that 91st day, you're going to be like me. Going to be a Connecticut water softener customer for life. Call 656-PURE today. See what I'm talking about. Get a Connecticut in your home. I know you're going to thank me later.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hurt in a wreck? Get George. Hit by an 18-wheeler or commercial truck? Get George. Injured at work? Get George. When you're dealing with personal injury, you need to get George because George gets justice. I'm George Salinas, and my San Antonio-based firm has been recognized across the state of Texas and the United States. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-737-9944. That's 1-800-737-9944. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-737-9944. That's 1-800-737-9944.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercial.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Good morning, everybody. Joe Reinigle here. Coming up on the Blitz, Mike Zimmer's press conference. He will be introduced today. It begins at 2 o'clock. We plan to take that live. And we got the Spurs Mavericks coming up tonight, the final game before the NBA All-Star break. Hey, RJ, Dan Quinn has no original ideas. Why is he stealing everybody from the Cowboys? You agree?
Thanks, Joe, and I'm sure he does. Big fudge.
Joe follows me on Twitter.
He does?
Sounds like it. Joe's just regurgitating my tweets at this point in time. I'm I'm feeling the blitz with content.
The big fudge. Big day in college football. We are all excited about what's coming, and they're trying to solidify how it's going to actually work. We know there's going to be 12 teams in the playoff, and it appears that the 5+7 approach will be the way to go. But before we go there, the way they're going to pay for this thing seems to be rounding into form, as it appears ESPN and the gods of college football are going to sign a whopper of a 6-year deal. Good thing, I guess.
It's going to be so difficult. I think about my sons too. It's going to be so impossible to explain all of this someday.
Because of what will sound silly. Like you're going to explain something, you're going to go, and he's going to go, y'all did how? What?
It's going to be like, they just used to like pick the national champion. Like they just used to like, like who would do that? Like, and sometimes there would be 2. What? Like,
or 3.
Yeah. What? Why? Who would?
The 5+7 model, it will make some sense when you hear it. I mean, it's the 5 conference champions, and then the other 7 will come from whoever's left out of the top 12 plus.
We got to call them something. They're not wild cards, but you know what I mean? There's got to be like.
But here's the weird part. Of the 5 conference champions, there is one conference with only 2 teams. Pretty good gig, if you ask me.
Pretty easy path.
That's a job I'd want. One of those 2. But we know the Pac-12 will at some point expand, and that's kind of a sticking point. If I'm the SEC and I'm voting to split the outcome here at the bare minimum amongst 5 conferences, probably 6 or 7 by the time we get the other ones in, and I'm splitting it amongst one conference that's only got 2 teams. Well, they're going to add a few, and it gives those 2 survivors from the Pac-12 for the very first time a little bit of leverage. A little bit of, what about us? We watched everybody jump off the ship and jump across country. Stanford playing in the ACC. What the hell are you talking about? So here we sit, and you have to negotiate with little old us here at the Pac-12 to figure out how we're going to put this thing together. I'm asking for a little bit of money to go away. I'm asking for a little something if I'm Oregon State. A little something if I'm Washington State. Get me just a little go away money. They talk about the greatest deal in sports history being the St. Louis franchise of the ABA making a deal with the NBA that they would get a cut of the TV revenue forever if they would just get out of the way. Just get out of the way of the NBA. And if we'll do that, give me 1/26th of the TV revenue, money you don't even have in your pocket yet. In perpetuity, I will step aside. If I was Oregon State, Washington State, I'd be playing those cards. You know what? I'll go away.
Nobody's dumb enough to make deals like that anymore, though.
But you can leverage a little bit of money. I think that the college football world needs to move on. And I think we feel kind of sorry for Oregon State and Washington State for not jumping off the ship and trying to hold things together. That maybe give them a little extra money and we'll figure out how the Pac-12 works later.
I mean, it is really awkward watching the Pac-12 like dwindle and just hang. You know what I mean? Like and obviously, we're like, it's also awkward doing all the goodbyes. You know what I mean? Like we had the like final Pac-12 after dark and everything, and obviously Washington's run. This is the last Pac-12 game, blah blah, and like and we're gonna get the same old. There will be like an inclusion in one shining moment of like some sort of like Pac-12, like the mascots. You know what I mean? Doing their thing again. Like we can only say goodbye so many times.
Right.
It's awkward and uncomfortable at this point in time. So I agree. Like I kind of want to give them something for just like putting up with all of this, but I mean at the same time, like we're just talking about 2 schools here. You know what I mean? Like in the grand pantheon of discussion, it's just 2 schools.
2 schools that have, for the most part, been pretty insignificant on the grand landscape.
Like if this was like, if this was like Oregon, okay, well, let's talk.
They have the full force of Nike behind them too. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, we'll send you a fruit basket, but like, I'm sorry, Oregon State. Like, you're not even the most important school in your state. You know what I mean? Like, how can I take you seriously?
The money is serious. $7.8 billion will be the extension for the 6-year deal. So there is some money to squeeze out of that lemon if they want to get it done. Also, in college football news, according to Brett McMurphy of the Action Network, the 10 schools leaving the Pac-12 will likely stay Pac-12 affiliated bowls. We'll be playing in those bowls for the next couple of years. And the reason I bring that up is it does matter to us, as the Alamo Bowl has an affiliation with the Pac-12, and they pit against the Pac-12 versus the Big 12. the Sun Bowl in El Paso, as well as the Vegas Holiday LA and Independence Bowls, all share an affiliation. So they're going to hang on to that for a couple of years as things shake out. Hey, we got a lot to do, and we're only halfway done. Coming up at the 8 o'clock, Cowboys deep offensive line changes. Wemby heading into the All-Star break, and we're talking Mr. Zimmer, the defensive coordinator, with Arif Hasan. He writes with the wide left post as a Substack. He knows of Zimmer, and we're going to be talking to him at 8:30. Don't go nowhere. We're huddling up. The play's going to be called. You might miss out.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
My name is John. I could not lose the weight I needed to. The Institute for Functional Health Wellness Program was the answer. It included a great deal of testing, supplements, and weekly face-to-face doctor visits. I finally had the accountability I needed. I am now 50 pounds lighter. I no longer have pain in my elbow, back, and hips. I have more energy and just feel and look so much better.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason Thompson, alawyer4us.com.
I'm a lawyer for you. I've helped you.
Yes, he has, and many others here in San Antonio. And that's why I'm so glad I get a chance to talk to you today about what happens when you get into an accident.
It's overwhelming for everybody involved. You have this paralysis of what to do next, who to talk to, how do you get medical care, or you're in the hospital and who's going to pay for this? It's this swirl of anxiety, and many times it's even worse than the injury itself. You have to help people through that situation. And I tell every client the same thing. Don't worry. I've got this. I will take care of this. Just worry about your family. Just worry about getting healthy. If I can do that for you and maximize your recovery, you stay in business, you keep clients. And for 30 years, I've kept every client I've ever had. I don't lose clients. I represent their family and friends because that's how seriously I take my job.
alawyer4us.com. You can find him at 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Jason Thompson, alawyer4us.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-5407. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-5407. That's 800-575-5407. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
This is Jim Rome. Have a take, don't suck on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. KTFM Floresville.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NFL, as the Dallas Cowboys will officially announce the hiring of Mike Zimmer as their new defensive coordinator, their former Dan Quinn is raiding the old cupboard He just hired away defensive line assistant coach Arif Floyd to join him up with the Commanders. The Cowboys also were denied permission to talk with another coach, Andre Patterson of the Giants, who previously coached with Mike Zimmer.
How good you want to be? From play one to the last play, we fighting. Today's about opportunity and character. We got a chance to come out here and play football. It's a blessing. Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest. Let's go, baby.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here are the guys.
Hey, huddle up. We got stuff to talk about. That's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. He's the managing editor of Blogging the Boys. There he is. I am Rob Thompson. I don't really have a title of note. And if I did, I don't have space to put it in because for some reason our title
of transitional strategy.
Well, see, that the problem with being the director of transitional strategies is I strategized my own transition directly out of that position. So now I have another one, and I need to be able to put that on my desk, on my door, and also on my feed there at the YouTube channel. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, I'm sorry. It's easy to fix, though. Go to YouTube, SA Sports Star, The Morning Huddle. Watch us live. Continue to subscribe. Always like. Pay the tax. Be a Noti.
Be a Noti gang. Noti gang member.
A Noti gang member of the brigade. It's like a super select group. Now, we got guests coming our way.
We have a guest.
We do.
Right, Arif Hasan.
He will be here in 27 minutes. He is a Substack
writer. The reason
writer.
he's coming on is he's covered the Minnesota Vikings for a long time, obviously throughout the Mike Zimmer era. It's been a minute since Mike Zimmer's been around the Dallas Cowboys, so we're here to try to understand who he's been, how people who followed that team like him. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's worth getting in on ground zero.
Because I think there is, and I want to have proven the reputation that he comes with as a hard ass, that he is here to do football things and we're going to do it football ways and nothing will get in the way of that. And we're going to hit hard and we're going to do this. And if you can't, we'll find somebody else who can, underpants, that kind of tough guy attitude. That plays in great. I think there's a lot of us that are a little concerned about the looseness around the Cowboys organization and the lack of consequences for, brain farts and things like that. But that ain't going to be fixed by just him. It's going to take a concerted effort above and beyond just him. I do know that the narrative, what about Dan Campbell? Why isn't Dan Campbell looked at like Mike Zimmer?
Because there's positivity associated with it.
And there's not with Zimmer?
I mean? Like,
I'm having to define him. Honest to goodness, I remember him as a bit part personality with the Cowboys. I really don't for him. He wasn't a front and center kind of guy. And, with the Minnesota Vikings, I haven't really paid attention. I know that he had himself a vanilla quarterback for a couple of years, and they lost in horrible manners and won in great ways. But for the most part, I don't know a lot about it.
I mean, he's been around, obviously, the Cowboys.
Long time.
Mike Zimmer. And that is a good question. I mean, now that you bring it up, like, why is the spin for Dan Campbell that he's rah-rah, not hard-ass?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a good point.
And it's all in your perception of, what do you define as a player's coach? Some guys looked at Bobby Knight as a player's coach. They loved him to the day he died. They loved him despite everything else. Is that a player's coach?
That's fair. But still, I mean, Mike Zimmer just has a tendency to like, again, you only see the negative. You only see the cussing. You only see the screaming. You don't see the,
you don't know him like I know him.
Well, I mean, when you're the head coach, you are behind the microphone and in front of the camera a lot more. So that's why you get the vulnerability. Maybe that's it. Dan Campbell, it has a vulnerable side that he lets everybody see, and that softens the kind of whatever other exterior that maybe is all we get to see when it comes to Mike.
Yeah, we had Nick Harris on of DallasCowboys.com, and if you missed any of it, Nick just is a smooth cat. He rocks. He really does have the inside of a dude that just kind of is in the room, and you don't. We can say Nick's in the room. He's cool. I think he has the ability to get some news that a lot of guys might not. But the idea of, we're talking defensive coordinator and What can he do to bring out this defensive line, and can he save Mozzie, and what will he do with Micah? You guys brought up something up to me that is really of more concern. The offensive line. Of all of my worries, the offensive line over the last 5 years has been one of the, Tyron and the injuries and all that, that's been one of the few points in the football team that you go, well, worst case scenario, they're not that bad. But they've been not that bad because there's been 6 of them. And then one guy went down. We always had another one that could kind of fill in, maybe not as good, but just enough. Well, we lose that 5th and we're down to 5, maybe 4. That whole offense could collapse upon itself. Tell me about the process here with the offensive line.
So Nick mentioned, we had Nick on to talk about Mike Zimmer because duh. But Nick mentioned on Talking Cowboys, which is a podcast put together by the mothership, DallasCowboys.com, and distributed all over their properties. He mentioned later in that conversation that he would be shocked if the Cowboys brought back the same starting 5 offensive linemen for 2024 that started the playoff game. Now, left to right, that's Tyron Smith, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele. If you go now right to left, Terrence Steele just got the deal. He's not going anywhere. He's your right tackle.
And with hurt.
Hurt.
But
he's
yes.
not hurt.
Well, he was.
Fine.
Spent a lot of time hurt.
Yeah,
I'm just saying this year, he'll be better next year.
My point is, that's not the chase.
So it's not him.
Steele, we're going right to left now. We're reading like the Brits.
And it better not be the next guy.
Zach Martin ain't going anywhere, so you're good there. The center is a question mark, and that's really where it all kind of happens. So this is kind of a choose your own adventure. Do you want to keep Tyler Biadasz or Tyron Smith? You don't necessarily have to only keep one. It depends how all in you really define yourself to be. But Tyler Biadasz and Tyron Smith are both free agents. Now, Tyler Biadasz is kind of the pinnacle of health. He's been a really good player. He's not a great player, but it's a very important position. And again, in an all-in kind of year, you don't necessarily want to have a new center. But this conversation is relevant because if you do have a new center, is it Matt Farniok? Who is it? And elsewhere, at left tackle, okay, if you move on from Tyron Smith, there's reason to finally just rip the Band-Aid off and stop, just hoping that he's going to be healthy, for an entire season. But if you do that, are you keeping Tyler Biadasz back? Because then you have a problem at left tackle and center. And if you do move on from Tyron Smith, are you kicking Tyler Smith out to left tackle full time? Because now you have him playing not a new position, but a position that he didn't really play in 2023.
But that's the position they thought they were drafting him for, right?
I don't know, man, because we say that, but he's an amazing left guard.
He really is.
You can make an argument that it's better to just leave him there, but you can also make an argument that it's really difficult to find, left tackles. So do you kick Tyler Smith out? Do you contaminate or, whatever his future ability to be a long-term star Larry Allen type guard? Zach Martin on the left side. That's a fair conversation to have. Do you sign Tyron back because you're hoping he can just survive another season? But if you do kick Tyler out, then you need a new left guard. If you keep Tyler there but move on from Tyron, you need a new left tackle. So there are different amalgamations that you can try to put together. But either way, you can't keep everybody. You know what I mean? And I would argue that Tyron and Tyler Biadasz are priorities, but there are a lot of other things happening as it relates to the salary cap and free agents to be.
This is another one of those self-inflicted situations after, it's not like the Cowboys didn't see this coming. They drafted a couple of different Connors over the years to try to get it done. And
Connor Williams tore his ACL last year, just, to respond to Goldfinger 1, 2, 3. So now the all-in proposition is hanging on top of a dude coming back from a torn ACL. And I recognize that that's not like the death sentence it used to be.
Right.
And it hasn't been for a long time, but still. He was not a great center. The Cowboys tried that out, and he was awful at center for them. And then he went to Miami, and everything worked out. But it's hard.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. So Tyron, anybody who's followed the Cowboys knows that we've been talking about Tyron leaving for years, and there's been so many different efforts to find a replacement. And Tyler was drafted. I don't know what the plan was, but whether he's left guard, left tackle. So if he left, at least the Cowboys have been kind of kicking around having to deal with his absence. Right. And while Biadasz ain't great, super great, he's really, really good. And if I'm Steven, and I know that if we're truly kind of all in on this, don't I tell Dak, hey, man, little something for Tyler?
You can tell Dak that all you want, but if I'm Dak, I tell Steven, why didn't you pay Tyler last year? Why didn't you get in 1 year early, right? Because right now the market, you would not have to pay him as much as you're going to. I mean, I would tell Steven, do your damn job. You know what I mean? Like, quit expecting me to do your job for you. Quit expecting me to pay the price for your incompetence. It's not Dak's fault that he played really well this season and deserves a market rate deal. It's not CeeDee's fault that the same is true for him. It's not Micah's fault. It's not Tyler Biadasz's fault that he deserves. Tyler Biadasz is back-to-back Pro Bowler. I mean, those things cost money, and that's the price of drafting really well. But, I mean, Tyler is one of those players who the Cowboys talk about, like, you don't want to play a player too much because they reach free agency, blah, blah, blah. I think they probably let Tyler walk because they probably think that they can find somebody else in the draft, which is, scary, but they do have a track record that suggests that they would be able to do that.
And it's easier to find a center than a left tackle.
Yeah, I mean, if you're telling me I can only have one for the next 3 years, I would rather have Tyler Biadasz. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I agree.
I mean, that's where it is a choose your own adventure. Which adventure sounds more appealing to you?
And it feels like Biadasz has the same kind of leverage that Dak does.
Maybe not that.
Well, I think he's going to get paid, though. I think that there's somebody going to pay Tyler a fair amount of money.
I mean, maybe the Dolphins, if they move on from Connor Williams. I mean, why not? Like, he's a highly, highly, highly talented center in the NFL, and he's kind of a low-key leader on the Cowboys. I mean, it would be a significant loss if Tyler Biadasz walked away. Although I would be happy just, and I don't mean to, call you out, but it's not a grievance of mine. It's just an outright annoyance that everybody thinks that they came up with Tyler Biadasz. That really bothers me.
Oh, I came up with it. I was the first, RJ. The moment they drafted him, I said it to myself.
Everybody has always said, like, I call him Tyler Biadasz. And then you talk to anybody, they're like, I know that everybody does that, but we're the ones that came up with it.
But the thing is, this time, RJ, I'm the one that came up with it.
Seriously, though, I came up with it. We're all.
I know other guys are copying,
but seriously, it was me. I mean, just so I would be happy in that sense. But it's hard. It's hard, and you still got to keep this Stephon Gilmore. Do you want to bring back Jordan Lewis? Like, these are all questions that are now that Mike Zimmer and all this is kind of taken care of, or will be taken care of at 3 p.m. today when it's all over. Now the focus shifts there.
So when it is announced in the next 6 weeks that Dak has become the highest paid football player in history, you'll know why, because they have to do it to do these other things. They're just going to have to, they're going to have to do something. It's coming. We're going to have to, swallow the giant horse pill that it will be, but it's coming.
This is truly Hank watching the video from Hank. He helped me in exploited me and forced me to do this, and Hank and Maria are like, we are so screwed. Like this dude has got us. That's how badly the Cowboys that Dak has the Cowboys.
We'll continue talking on it. I love watching the scroll. The Cowboys believe they have in-house center candidates to replace the center. Not the same with tackle. That's Miggy V 1203 coming in across our, and I do get the sense that's the case.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find a left tackle. I mean, the Cowboys haven't had to worry about it in 15 years.
I can't remember the last time they were worried other than injury. Coming back, last time we saw Wemby, we got 10 blocks, and that was just part of a triple-double that only took a little while, the time of your average sitcom. Anything spectacular we expect to see tonight? What's next on the Wemby highlight reel as they wind down the ceremonial first half of the season up in Dallas and head up to the All-Star game this weekend? Let's look forward to that and look around the rest of the NBA as well. Wemby set a record in speed for a triple-double. There's a big Sabonis up there in Sacramento who's done it a couple times in a row. We'll look around the rest of the NBA and look toward the Mavs next. The NBA Fast Breaks coming at you. Hang here. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, it is Valentine's Day, and a lot of you guys have woke up this morning and think, what is the ideal gift that I can give my loved one? And I'm going to tell you, it's meat. Tri-County Meat Market's got these great deals going on. It's these freezer boxes. It's a great way to stock up on all the things you need so you don't have to make all these runs. And if you're looking for the best gift to give to someone you love, it is Fine Meats. They've got a bunch of different boxes put together that kind of suit everybody's needs. Like if you're just starting out and getting moving, they've got a starter frozen box that you can take home. It'll give you everything you need for a long time. 10 pounds of ground beef, 10 pounds of chicken breasts and leg quarters. That's 20 pounds total of those. And 10 pounds of boneless pork chops. Those suckers are thick, cut, great. Their pork is outstanding. That's just one box. They call it the starter. Buy in bulk, save yourself a whole bunch of money. If you're a weekend griller like me, they got other boxes. They got Pitmaster boxes that are suitable for those that are experts and serve a lot. A steak box with all the kind of cuts you need. It's already boxed up. It's already ready to be frozen, already frozen for your long-term needs. That's a great gift to give over at Tri-County. But a great meal always starts with great meat. You need to head over there on the regular basis. Specials are in play. If you're going to cook your loved one a fine meal, head over to Tri-County, man. Give them the gift of Wagyu. Give them a big old tomahawk. What a great Valentine's Day gift, whether you're going to celebrate today or over the weekend. As the weather turns beautiful, it's grilling season. Head over to either one of those Tri-County meat markets. No, the 5 for $25 is in play. 5 items, 1 bag, 2 meals in that bag. Trust me, it's the best deal in San Antonio. First responders, you're getting 10% off. I'm giving you enough reasons. Now it's up to you. Head over to Tri-County today. Fill your freezer with fine meats. Put a bunch of that on the grill, and I know you're going to be thanking me later.
The boys are back from Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
You heard the big game on Sunday, and the boys made it back thanks to AA Best Bail Bonds and presented by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Synergenics. Next year, it's off to the Big Easy on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hi, it's Jason Minix from The Blitz. Guys, Synergenics can help conquer your New Year's resolutions. Do you have lack of energy, motivation, and possibly low libido? These could be caused by low T levels. At Synergenics, they exclusively specialize in testosterone treatment and make it quick and easy to get your levels checked. And at Synergenics, you will get your results back at your first visit. To book your appointment, go to fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Don't let pain keep you from doing the things you love. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett from Arasti. At Arasti, we fix pain fast. Whether you've been living with chronic and nagging pain for years, or if you've recently experienced an injury, our goal is to get you out of pain as quickly as possible. Arasti is completely natural and non-invasive. Plus, Arasti accepts most insurance plans. There's a location near you. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason, a practicing attorney in San Antonio for 30 years. Jason, what does that mean?
What it means is I've been representing people and families here in San Antonio injured in auto, truck, motorcycle collisions, serious injury, death accidents, taking those families and helping them through some of the worst times of their life. I've been practicing law in San Antonio for so long. I remember when the Cowboys were champions.
Seriously.
And a great staff that handles kind of the blocking and tackling of what it takes to represent clients. There are so many phone calls that need to be made, so many connections you have to have between insurance companies, physicians, opposing lawyers, relationships that you build over 30 years with adjusters, with insurance companies, with defense attorneys, with local judges. When I represent a client, they know that I'm lending my name, my reputation built on 30 years of experience to that client to get them justice.
It's Jason Thompson, alawyerforus.com. Call him at 210-900-0400, alawyerforus.com. Rob Thompson here for SA Card House. It's where I go to get my poker on. They're over at 281 in Bitters, 13400 San Pedro Avenue if you are going to be using the map services. Easy to get to, open 7 days a week. Everything that I've been looking for. Look, I've played poker for years, and card houses have been a great experience, but let me tell you, you want to talk about next level, it's SA Card House, because they've got everything that I want. I'm not just a casual player. I like to play, but I like to play with folks I like. I like to be in an environment that I feel comfortable, enjoy the people around, the service and all that goes around that. I get all of that. And then you add in Foster's Grill, which takes SA Card House over the top. They have the opportunity, you have the opportunity to go play great cards in a great environment, a great place, and then add in a great meal made by worthy chefs. It is not pub grub. This is posh nosh. That's SA Card House. Games to be played, fun to be had. Go there today and thank me later.
Attention all homeowners, do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just call 800-NEW-WINDOWS for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Call 800-NEW-WINDOWS right now. Don't wait. Call 800-NEW-WINDOWS. 800-NEW-WINDOWS.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Minix here from the Blitz. Starting at 2 o'clock today, we're going to start with the Mike Zimmer press conference as he's officially introduced as the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Plus, we'll get you ready for Spurs Mavs. They play tonight, final game before the All-Star break. Rob, how many blocks do you think Wemby will have tonight?
It is a small front line for the Mavericks. There won't be a lot of points in the paint coming off a spectacular 10-block outing in a sub-30-minute triple-double, the likes of which we have not seen ever. We haven't seen a rookie do it since our very own did it a long time ago, and we get to see him again tonight before he heads up to the All-Star game and takes part in 2 different things, right? He's going to be in the skills and the Rising Stars. Jeremy Sohan will also play a role in the Rising Stars, but both these dudes are going to be on the Euro team, right? Don't they have a Euro team and an American team?
Yeah, but man, poor Jeremy. Jeremy will also be there.
Well,
I mean,
it does kind of
Wemby
suck.
is going to be in the Rising Stars Challenge and the Skills Challenge, and Wemby's going to be there, and he's going to exist, and he's going to breathe, and he's going to smell the air. Jeremy will also be in attendance.
He will also get to go, maybe with a new haircut. I voiced my problem with the All-Star game. I love all the events. I just don't get to see them. So I'm going to be recording them and watching them as the weekend goes on. I'm just not going to be around on Friday or Saturday night. I'm just going to miss them. It's what always happens. And then what ends up happening is I don't take the time on Sunday to watch them. So I get all the highlights through all the various social medias. And very rarely do I go back and get the sense of the evening. All I get is the sense of the highlight. And I hate that. So I'd like to get a little bit more from that, the experience of seeing something spectacular.
I think we should do a game on Friday. We'll do a pick thing. We'll pick who's going to win everything. Dunk contest, 3-point contest.
We will. Don't worry.
Skills challenge, Steph versus Sabrina, and of course the actual All-Star.
But I hate dealing in the subjective, the possible realm. But, the question of what's the next crazy thing that Wemby can do if we're doing things we've never done before. We've already seen it before. I can tell you what Wemby's going to be able to do. There's 2 guys on the planet that can do what I think can be done, and Wemby's one of them. And it is a 3-point layup.
A 3-point layup.
Where you take off from the from the layup line, from the 3-point line, and finger roll it in for a 3-point layup. I believe he is capable of such things.
I think he's physically capable, but that's sort of circumstantial. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got to have.
You're right. I mean, it has to be the right time, but we're talking about things that we have. A triple-double in 29 minutes? That's just as ridiculous as saying, I think we could probably see a 3-point layup.
That's possible. I mean, certainly. I think we could just as easily get the Jordan free throw,
Oh, he can fall out of bed doing that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but like, I'm saying things that would like send us, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, that would be pretty sick. I don't have a name for mine, but I think we're on the verge of getting, how we talked about, we invented the term dub T for when something happens that's just like only Wemby could do, like a Wemby thing, a dub T.
Is that what that is? I didn't know.
Yeah, a dub. So like anything that like is incalculable that only Wemby could do, we call them dub Ts on the show that you co-host. And so I think a dub T that we're on the precipice of, dub for W
is it
for Wemby.
Is it a dash T or
DUB dash the letter T?
All right.
For thing.
It's official.
Dub T. So a dub T that's on its way is we're going to get a block that's not necessarily a block, but just like a palming, right? Like a catch. You know what I mean? And so in one motion, he's going to like catch a shot and then catapult it down court.
Well, there needs to be a name for what you're calling that. The two-handed block.
No, but like in one physical motion, he's going to catch a block and then immediately there's not going to need to be
pass.
There's not going to, my point is like, there's not going to need to be the cocking back to like generate leverage. Like he's going to have all of it as a result of the like physics of it. Like we're on the verge of that at some point here.
It's no surprise. I will stick with it that Pop had engineered this rev up and prep for the All-Star game. It's what the NBA needs. It's what Spurs fans need. It's what this team needs. There's a little bit of good news from a couple of the kids that have had to suffer for a long time. He talked about how over the last couple of days when you heard it here. And if you missed anything from what we have talked about, you can go to sasportstar.com in the audio vault. Yesterday during the Silver and Black, we heard from Pop. He brought up the fact that, hey, this is a bunch of kids and we're losing a lot of games. I'm teaching them how to be pros. And one of them is you wake up in the morning and you go to shoot around or you get on the plane or you get out of your hotel room. What happened last night is done. It's over. It is forgotten. Whether you win or you lost, you don't think about it anymore. And to get over, I mean, they've only won 11 times since October. This is a beatdown, whether you're a kid or not. I think a little good news helps. And I think Pop took a couple of days. There was some practice. There was some load management. And here we go into the All-Star break with everybody who's anybody more excited about seeing Wemby than the actual game. This is Brian Windhorst on Monday. Reflecting on some of the things we've talked about here, Wemby's an all-star. By his play, by his numbers, he should be playing on Sunday. He won't be. But Windhorst, well, I think he might be on my side.
He has not exceeded my expectations because this is what I expected him to do.
Wow.
Because I thought he would be an impact player right away. He's averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks a game in 29 minutes. 29 minutes because he's been on a minute restriction. And last night, by the way, he did all that in 29 minutes. Okay, here's the other thing. The thing that you're probably going to say is that he has trouble shooting.
I wasn't going to say nothing like that.
Well, in the last 13 games, he's shooting 39% on threes. The three-point shot is getting better. And he does turn the ball over. Now, that is a legitimate problem. They got to do something about that. He's got to get better there. But he is only scratching the surface of what he can do.
That's Windy on Wemby. Brian Windhorst, the lamp-rated LeBron and NBA pundit, talking about the next.
A dub T on a dub T.
It was.
I mean, yeah. I mean, is he wrong? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how anybody could objectively disagree with that. And again, like, the Spurs were off last night, so the Thunder were on the TNT game, so it was nice to kind of have a chance. And it was like, this is your king, Zach Lowe? Like, this is your challenger? You know what I mean? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, I felt like Brad Pitt in Troy when he just like destroys Eric Bana's character, and he's like, this is the mightiest warrior that you can send to me. You know what I mean? Like, the idea that he ever caped for Chet is hilarious. I mean, like, it is
bust on that movie. Great on that movie.
Oh, dude, that movie rocks.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an unheralded, really good movie. I don't think it got the credit that it was due because everybody was so pretty. Everybody in that whole movie was
Troy.
Yeah, everybody in the movie
just everyone's
too pretty.
Clear.
But yeah, good movie.
City of Troy, Trojan Horse. But my only qualm with it is I watched that movie when I was in middle school. My dad took me, and we went to like a 10 o'clock showing. It's a long movie, and so we didn't totally know that going in. And looked over, my dad was asleep. You know what I mean? So
that's normally a sign of a good one.
You got to start that movie before 8 p.m.
We got a busy next 30 minutes. Arif Hasan is going to join us. He writes the Left Post Substack. He knows the Vikings. He knows Zimmer. We're talking
Cover
to him.
the Vikings for the Athletic.
Yeah. He covered the Vikings for the Athletic. And very quickly to follow, Dr. Jason Garrett's going to join us as we talk injuries post-Super Bowl and NBA headed into the playoff run. A lot to do, so go hydrate. Go get yourself hydrated, carbo load, and be right back. We are talking about the new defensive coordinator that will be announced today in a press conference you will catch live right here on San Antonio Sports Star. His name is Arif Hasan. You want to hear him. He's next right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
QC Kinetics patient Robert Patterson, a veteran and business owner, struggled at work and in the gym with chronic agonizing shoulder pain.
Those injuries just continue to nag, and if you don't treat them, they just get worse. And I just kind of abused my body for a long time, and it finally had said enough is enough.
That's okay, because QC Kinetics tells your pain, hey, enough is enough. Their regenerative treatments bring you relief by helping restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs, no downtime, and best of all, no surgery.
I was able to exceed the goals that I had previously attained in the gym. It was absolutely worth its weight in gold, so I could continue to live life without limitation.
Ready to get lasting relief from your joint pain? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about how natural biologic treatments can get you lasting results. Call now. It's a free consultation.
210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318.
Listen to this station anytime. Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
We're going to go silent count. Stay on me. He's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. So it'll be officially official after the official press conference at 2 o'clock, but there will be 2 official statements prior to them. As the buildup will finally be complete, we will know that it will be Mike Zimmer, our defensive coordinator here for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's find out about the man and his history. We'd like to welcome on our show Arif Hasan. He wrote for the Vikings. He wrote for The Athletic on the Vikings, currently writing a Substack called Wide Left Post, and he's here with us now. Good morning, sir. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Arif, I'll be straight up. I'm not too pumped about Mike Zimmer. So I'm kind of hoping that you can salvage things for us, or at least for me. last time I spoke to you was about Everson Griffin when he signed to the Dallas Cowboys, and I was really excited about that, and that didn't exactly work out. So hopefully this is an inverse of that situation. The line, Arif, that every Cowboys fan is using to cope with themselves is that Mike Zimmer has had success against Kyle Shanahan and his disciples running all over the NFL. In your experience, is that a fair characterization?
No, I think it is. I think the fact that he's been in a division with teams that run Shanahan-style offenses, whether it's Matt LaFleur, who directly runs a Shanahan-style offense, or Ben Johnson, who has not grown up in a Shanahan-style offense, but copies a lot of those principles in designing the Detroit Lions stuff. I think that, that helps kind of demonstrate that he's got a history there of limiting them a lot more than other teams do, especially, Mike Zimmer is kind of very well known for doing a very good job against Aaron Rodgers specifically. When his numbers, when Aaron Rodgers plays the Vikings, his numbers were significantly worse than when he played any other team. So there's a history there of working specifically against Shanahan offenses that I think you should be optimistic about.
Interesting. Arif Hasan joining us. We're looking at Mike Zimmer, who will be named today officially as the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, coming back home with a position that he held some years ago. And in the mean, he was in Cincinnati for a bit, and then he went to the Vikings. Give me an idea of the flow of his arc as a coach there in Minneapolis, because his reputation as a hard ass and one of those guys that's going to lean on you a little bit more than other coaches. When I hear those, I always think coaches with shelf lives that, for a while it works, then you get tired of hearing it. Tell us about the arc of his coaching there in Minnesota. And by the time he was done, was that hard ass thing enough for his players and they're ready for him to go?
Yeah, I think that's mostly correct. There's a little nuance there, of course, as there is with every coach. But I think, he shows up. He's a huge difference from the previous coach, Leslie Frazier, who a lot of people characterize as a player's coach, definitely a lot softer in his approach than Zimmer, who does like to yell a lot, does like to berate players, doesn't really have a lot of patience for what he considers to be nonsense. And initially there was a little bit of friction. Some players felt that he wasn't treating them fairly. Some players felt that he wasn't taking into account things like injuries. But the defense turned around pretty quickly from around 28th in the league to about 13th, 14th in the league. And then there was a 3-year stretch where the defense was one of the best in the league, including in 2017, where it was the best in the league by a lot of metrics. And the team obviously, was loving it. He was the coach that was at the head of, that Minneapolis miracle season where, again, it was 2017. They were leading the league in defense. Case Keenum was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But then, some things kind of started wearing. They brought in Kirk Cousins. It seemed like he wasn't really a fan of that move. I think he got really attached to Teddy Bridgewater in a big way. And I don't think he really let go of that. And that kind of rubbed off on his relationship with Cousins. And it became pretty clear by the end of it that was a pretty difficult relationship to manage. He ended up having some difficult relationships with some of the offensive coordinators. He didn't like that John DeFilippo liked to pass the ball a ton, and so he got rid of him after one season. Admittedly, DeFilippo was not a very good coordinator either, but that was kind of a main pressure point. And then that refusal to kind of pass the ball also created some tension between him and Stephon Diggs, where Diggs signed an extension with the understanding that they would continue to throw the ball a fair amount. That didn't happen, and so because of that and maybe a couple of other things, Diggs forced his way out, got traded to the Buffalo Bills. And, that arc that you described did kind of happen. It was really good for a while, and then it just kind of fell off. Although I think actually the greater problem was that he wasn't really adapting the way that he was coaching to the fact that a bunch of new players were coming in, and he just kind of expected, given he had some of the lowest roster turnover in the NFL, he kind of expected people to pick up a really complex defense really quickly, whereas he didn't expect that back in 2014, 2015. He taught people and increased the complexity of the defense over time. But he was really good at reaching people at that moment. He understood that different players had different teaching styles. And so he would approach players differently. He wouldn't berate everybody. He knew that some players responded differently to that kind of stuff. So I think there is a little bit of nuance there, but he's really good at reaching out to specific players once he understood them.
Arif, when Zimmer was first connected to the Cowboys opening, the first thing I did was go kind of cross-reference my own memory with FTN Fantasy's DVOA data, obviously. And defensively, obviously, the first couple of years, every coach kind of needs a little bit of time to institute their program, but a top 5 defense by DVOA in 16, 17, 18, and 19, but then dipped all the way down to 25 in 2020 and 19 in that final season of 2021. When I tweeted this out, and you know how this kind of thing tends to go, all I got from the Cowboys fans who were just chugging this Kool-Aid were, oh, well, injuries and players got older. What in your estimation explains the drop-off over those last 2 seasons that he was in Minnesota?
I think it's a combination of actually, I think that's a pretty legitimate excuse of having a lot of roster turnover. Injury wasn't as big an issue, if I remember correctly, but he lost, his top corners, his top defensive linemen, his linebackers in free agency a lot. And so they went from a team that changed maybe one starter over, a 3-year span, like one starter every new year for 3 years, to a team that had 9 new starters, I think, in 2019 or in 2020. And again, another like 7 new starters again in 2021. And that's just a really difficult situation for anybody to manage, even a really great coach. But, we would ask him like, hey, so you've got like all these rookies coming in, you've got a 3rd round corner here, you've got a 5th round corner here, you've got a 2nd-year safety here. Are you going to change the defense to accommodate the fact that none of them know it? And he said, absolutely not. And that was like a kind of light bulb moment. We're like, oh, I don't know that this is going to work out well. And then we saw some signs in the preseason that this wasn't going to go well. We saw the first couple of games it wasn't going well. And we said, hey, is this a concern? And he's like, I've never coached a bad defense. And so that was a really big kind of like red flag. Like, hey, you've got 9 new players and they're not playing well. And just saying you've never coached a bad defense is like not a great sign. Here's the thing. I'm giving you a bunch of stuff to feel kind of pessimistic about. I actually think it's a great hire. But you're asking me questions about, why things went wrong. And that's why those things went wrong. It's because a bunch of new players came in. That part's not his fault. He didn't really adapt very well to those new players. That is definitely his fault.
Yeah, Arif, I'm not above admitting that I might be jaded in the moment, based on the last month that it's been for the Cowboys. But you mentioned that you think it's a good hire. There's a lot of people who like you, know a lot more about I do about certain principles and schematic advantages and things like that. In a general 30,000-foot perspective sort of way, why is it a good hire in your estimation for the Cowboys?
Yes.
Yeah, because when he's not kind of in that framework, and I think as a new coach he won't be, he's an extremely flexible and adaptable coach, not just to the individual coaching styles of his players, but to the league in general. When everybody started implementing cover 3 defense, he started changing the cover 3 that the Vikings ran so that it looked different than everybody else's. He started doing the double A gap look that everyone knows him for before anyone else, and then he abandoned it before anyone else abandoned it. And then he moves into the cover 4 defense that a lot of people started using, and then the cover 6 defense before Vic Fangio was famous for using it, way before anybody else did. And that was one of the reasons that 2019 defense was so good, is because it started changing and adapting. His second half performances were way better than his first half performances on defense. So he's making a bunch of really great in-game adjustments. He does a lot of really great individual coaching. He maximized Danielle Hunter in a huge way. 3rd round pick, had 1.5 sacks in his final year of college. Was just he turned into one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Did a great job with Xavier Rhodes, who had 2 really bad years with Leslie Frazier, and then became one of the top corners in the NFL. Same thing with Trey Waynes. It's just, I think that he does a really great job figuring out the direction the NFL is going in, and then anticipating it and figuring it out. Instead of, hey, everybody else is running, the Seattle cover 3, I'm going to do that too. He doesn't do that. He figures out what offenses are going to do, and then he responds to that before it happens. So I think he's a really adaptable, flexible coach. And it is in a lot of ways that we see modern defenses approach things.
Really great stuff. This is Arif Hasan. If you want more of it, he's got a Substack. It's Wide Left Post. Go find it and get into it. Let's talk a little bit about what he'll be bringing, because you just answered a couple of questions. And if I was interviewing, one of the things I'd want to know is, how do stars function in your defense? Do you create stars, or guys getting better? Because I got a couple stars that I got to keep fed and happy, and Micah and Diggs and some others. And it appears that he has raised and functioned with stars on his defense. What does he do defensively that makes him so successful against the Shanahan acolytes? I mean, what does it make it? Why does he beat them? Is it scheme, or is it adaptability?
I think it's more adaptability. He isn't really ever married to one scheme. And I think when you take a look at things like stars, what he really does is he tries to identify what really maximizes the impact of those players. So when Danielle Hunter was coming up, I mean, he didn't become a huge pass rusher until his 3rd year in the NFL. And so they weren't scheming around ways to maximize him. But when it was clear that he had all this talent, what they would do is they'd find ways to shift the blocking away from Hunter so he'd have as many one-on-one matchups as possible. And so instead of doing, the double A gap stuff, which is really good at creating one-on-one matchups, they'd start moving Anthony Barr around. And Anthony Barr is really well known for being an off-ball blitzer, a guy that teams would always pay attention to. Whether or not he was actually good at blitzing, teams would always devote blocking attention to him regardless of where he was. So they'd move him around and move him away from Hunter, or they would drop Everson Griffin in coverage. Everyone's like, why would you drop a great pass rusher in coverage? Well, it's creating these one-on-one pass rushing opportunities for somebody like Hunter. Or he saw what Xavier Rhodes was doing and decided, hey, I have shadowed cornerbacks. I have played sides with my cornerbacks my entire career. My left side cornerback always plays on my left. My right side cornerback always plays on my right. But Xavier Rhodes is special. So I'm just going to have him shadow a guy. And it worked out really well. It was part of the 2017 defense that was really excellent. So he figures out kind of what these guys do really well, and then he tries to find ways to maximize them. Oh, Harrison Smith's a really good blitzing safety. Okay, I guess obviously we'll just blitz him a lot. Like I think that's you think that that's simple, but a lot of coaches just don't do that. We just had in Minnesota Ed Donatel, he wouldn't do that. And so figuring out what they do, putting them in positions to do that, but then also making sure that the rest of the team can help support, figuring out ways to maximize that guy. That's something he's very good at, and it does create star opportunities for people like Harrison Smith, people like Anthony Barr, people like Danielle Hunter, people like Xavier Rhodes. He just does a really great job of doing that kind of thing.
Arif Hasan, one of the smartest people who is involved in any kind of capacity with the NFL. Somebody who poured me a glass because I'm ready to get a little bit more into this.
There we go.
Arif. Arif, also congratulations on lighting the flame of coming for Kyle Shanahan with exposing the tweet about the it was your tweet that really kind of sent things into commotion on Monday morning. So you and Mike Zimmer kind of park your cars in the same garage. You come for Kyle Shanahan.
Well, a good company to share, I guess. Yeah, for sure.
There he goes.
Appreciate it, Arif. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Left Post Substack. Make sure you're checking it out. Hey, let's talk some injuries real quick. Hey, we do it every week, and man, we'd like to welcome Dr. Jason Garrett as he stops by for our injury update. A lot of times you watch injuries happen in the midst of a game. I have never witnessed what I saw in the Super Bowl when the kid blew his Achilles, because we watched the precursor. They came back from the break and they said, wait till you see this. And we saw the buildup. We saw the actual activity that led to a non-contact blown Achilles directly in front of us. And after the Aaron Rodgers 3 months of rehab, we're very aware of the what it takes to come back and the modern technology that is bringing it back. Let's welcome on Dr. Jason Garrett of Veracity. Morning, Doc. Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. What's going on?
Hey, man, you saw it. Let's talk Achilles real quick, as Dre Greenlaw was like a caged panther on the sidelines, just ready to spring. And you watched him kind of hesitate, and then a weird movement forward, and there it went, and everybody knew exactly what had happened. What's he facing?
Yeah, we're facing a minimum 6 months, unless he's Aaron Rodgers and come back a little faster. But 6 months should make a relatively full recovery nowadays, although you're never really the same after an Achilles tear. And unfortunately, this is how most of them happen. It happens from a relatively normal range of motion. Get up, you run, and boom, it just explodes.
And there's go ahead.
Well, I mean, so some people, I think this is unfair, but some people are kind of coming for him and saying he was too jacked. He was too excited. I mean, is there medical science to support that, or is this just truly a freak coincidence kind of thing?
I mean, I would chalk this up to just horrible, terrible luck, a freak coincidence. Right. Yeah, he was pretty amped up. It's the Super Bowl, but who isn't amped up? If you're not amped up, then there's something wrong with you. So I wouldn't blame that on him being over-amped. Everyone's over-amped. It's just terrible, terrible bad luck.
A couple things that are coming out post-game from the Chiefs, and you can just Nick Allegretti, who is playing in place of Joe Thuney, the All-Pro there for the Chiefs, played. They're saying 79 snaps after suffering a torn UCL in his elbow. Explain to me what the UCL is, and how can a guy continue to play with one that has been snapped?
Well, if you're a pitcher or a quarterback or anybody that's throwing, if you're tearing your UCL, you're done. It's a Tommy John surgery. It's a ligament on the inside of the elbow. It helps stabilize the elbow from moving laterally. So, your elbow is a hinge joint, moves up and down. It doesn't move side to side. That ligament is one of the ones that prevents it from not moving side to side. However, if you put a brace on there, you lock that in place with a good sturdy brace, you pretty much have full range of motion, full strength, and no urgent surgery is required unless you're a throwing athlete that needs rotational movement from the elbow. So you can play with it. You'll probably need surgery afterwards to repair it to make it a full recovery, but I'm not super surprised he was able to play.
Along those lines, athletes who obviously throw for a living. I don't know if you've seen this morning. It's obviously pitchers and catchers reporting season. Justin Verlander was quoted this morning saying he's a couple weeks behind and that his shoulder didn't feel so great. Obviously, Justin Verlander, one of the the great pitchers of all time, one of the oldest ones in the NFL, not the NFL, the MLB. He termed it a hiccup. That does not feel great. I don't know if and I'm not a doctor, but I imagine that you would corroborate that sort of instinct.
Yeah, if your shoulder doesn't feel good at his age, which I think he's in his late 30s, and I could be wrong on that, but there's a ton of changes that occur in the shoulder over time. Just you have way too much stability, way too little stability, arthritis, labral tears, rotator cuff tears. A lot of things can go wrong. And throwing velocity at that level, which you're throwing nearly 100 miles an hour at baseball, that's a lot of torque on your shoulder. So if it's not feeling good right now coming in off the offseason, it's probably not a good sign. Now, he may come back and be perfectly fine. He can rehab it. But I would expect this is going to be an ongoing issue. And if you're writing the checks for that player and you're the owner of the team, you're probably not super happy.
We are joined by Dr. No, I imagine not. Dr. Jason Garrett of Arif. He stops by telling us how we can get ourselves back in the game and how our players are. Did you see the video of Shohei Ohtani swinging a bat in that Dodger blue? He's booming them, man. Tell me about, he didn't have the surgery. He's not going to pitch, but he's just going to bat. You talked about the UCL and bracing it and all that. How does all this kind of round into form with Shohei? Because he looks pretty good.
Yeah, if his elbow is relatively stable, if you're going to put a little brace on there, he more than likely got some growth hormone injected in there, which if it wasn't a full tear, it can heal. It can grow back, essentially. It's a bit of a long shot. Usually the surgery is really effective. I know he's not going to pitch this year, which is good because that's a lot of torque and he throws really, really hard. But even after he tore it last year, he was still able to bat. So I'm not surprised that he's going to be hitting a lot of bombs. I'm a little surprised that they would choose to have him just hit and not be a pitcher with the income he's going to be making. He should be probably doing a little bit more and have that surgery.
Well, it looks as healthy as possible. And when you watch the swing, where's the torque and what's the, I don't see a place where he could re-hurt it. Is there a way in that swing you could hurt the problem that, they're trying to just kind of let him mend on its own?
No, actually it hurts more when you miss because your body's anticipating contact. And so if you take a big cut and you miss, it's the deceleration of the bat that's actually a little bit more painful. He's going to miss a lot. So if that's not really hurting him, then I would say there's probably no issues going forward.
Doc, Anthony Richardson played like 5 minutes for the Indianapolis Colts last season, and that was just such a big bummer. Yesterday, his agent posted a video of him throwing. Now, the NFL offseason has just begun, but given his age and his therefore likelihood to heal faster, that has to be a good and promising sign. I mean, I would imagine that he's probably on track to be fully cleared for full and total offseason activities.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I mean, he's not that old for that position, so the throwing positions in a lot of sports can go a lot further than most of the sprinters and the hardcore cutting athletes. So I would expect a full recovery. Obviously, you can get hurt at any time, but I would be positive or optimistic on this one for sure.
Dr. Jason Garrett right here for his Wednesday house call. This is my new injury of the week. Jamal Murray is questionable for return after Monday's game against the Bucks. He's dealing with bilateral tibial inflammation. What exactly is that?
That is a wastebasket diagnosis. Bilateral tibial inflammation doesn't give us a whole lot to go on because that sounds like his bone is inflamed in both sides. Probably not the case. More likely, he's got some posterior tibialis tendonitis or shin splints in both legs, which a lot of NBA basketball players, especially being tall, they have flat feet, which puts a lot more stress on those tendons. So more than likely, he's got some pretty good inserts. He's getting some rehab, some manual therapy done. It's one of those things that's more pain tolerance than it is a real injury. So if you can play through it, you go ahead and play through it. Otherwise, you're sitting out just to rest and recover.
Doc, also, we didn't speak to you last week, but Joel Embiid, kind of the big story as it relates to the NBA in terms of injuries. It is left knee, the lateral meniscus. I mean, given his age, and I know we've talked about this before, and how he isn't necessarily, doing himself any favors in terms of, health and wellness or whatever the case may be. Do you think he comes back? Because, I mean, that's just kind of the general question right now. Is it possible? Is it possible to come back at 100%, or is there just too much wear and tear for a return this season?
Well, luckily, the lateral meniscus is much less important than the medial meniscus, so that's kind of a good sign. It's a little bit more unusual for Garrett. Yeah, so lateral's good. Being a big, tall guy with a poor work ethic and not a lot of conditioning makes that harder to come back. Because what supports that knee is your quads, your hamstrings, all the rehab, the strength training you do in the off season, and he's not really known for that. So yes, he should make a full recovery from this. Meniscus tears are not a big deal unless there's a huge defect that has to be repaired, which usually they just go in, they shave it down. You're literally back to nearly 95, 100% within 4 weeks. Now, over time, you develop more arthritis. That shouldn't be an issue for him right now at his age. He should be able to come back from this if he puts in the work.
That's Dr. Jason Garrett. He puts in the work. Of Veracity stops by every Wednesday. Doc, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Have a good week. We'll talk to you next.
All right, thanks, guys.
Dr. Jason Garrett of Veracity. Listen to me. Don't let pain keep you from doing things that you love. Veracity can get you fixed. Call one today. They'll take care of you post-haste. Lots to talk about in the 9 o'clock hour. We're coming back looking at Caleb Williams. Where is he going to land in the NFL? Does he want to play for the Bears or not? We'll figure out what that means because the Commanders certainly care. We'll talk Cowboys. The Zimmer is announced today, and the Spurs got the Mavs tonight. A lot to do. Hang around with us. It's the Morning Huddle. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
As we visit with ND Kalu here on the Blitz.
I believe the NFL is the greatest league in the world. With as great as the season the Texans had and the trajectory looking up, we've all seen it. This team, if you don't do the offseason the way you're supposed to do the offseason, it could be 7-10 next year. So, yeah, the future's bright, but Nick Caserio, D'Amico Ryans, they can't, kick back and put their feet on the table and fist bump each other. It's like they need to get on that grind.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Let our team keep your home running comfortable and worry-free. Call on Mr. Electric for all your electrical needs. 210-248-2026. Or get a hold of us online at mrelectric.com and enter your zip code.
License number TECL 34221.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just call 800-721-9205 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Call 800-721-9205 right now. Don't wait. Call 800-721-9205. 800-721-9205.
The Texas Rangers play here.
Hit high and deep to left field. This is carrying well. Opposite field blast for Corey.
KTFM Floresville and always at ESPNSA.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Well, it appears to be official. Mike Zimmer will be named in the press conference today at 2 o'clock as the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. Word has it it'll be a short-term deal. We'll find out today. The Cowboys also lost a coach as defensive line assistant coach Arif will be joining Dan Quinn in Washington to take over the Commanders in the same capacity. Cowboys are looking for a defensive line coach on their own. We'll talk about
Center
it.
is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
Wembanyama goes behind the back here. Oh, little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Hey, huddle up. We're going silent count. Pay attention. That's RJ. I'm Rob Thompson. Thanks for joining us. If you missed any of the three previous hours of glorious radio, you know where you can go. And then you can go to sasportstar.com. There you can catch up on all the things that you missed. We call it the Audio Vault. You call it your headquarters. Please do that if you're watching us live. Thank you. If you have not already liked, pay the Noti tax, subscribe on the regular, and be a dude or a dudette, as we appreciate you. Happy Valentine's Day to all. If you're just hearing that, you're in trouble. You might want to text or say something to somebody.
Text?
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes it's just a little nice, sweet little text.
Okay.
Just to kind of, it's not the end. It's just the beginning of the day. And, just trying to avoid trouble in most instances after a while. For Valentine's Day, we're offering hearts. Are we being nice today as we're getting to meet our brand new defensive coordinator? Are you coming around?
I'm still really mad at the process. To be very clear, I maintain that is a fair opinion to have.
I think it is.
Buy into us.
Shut up, Mike. All right. But Arif, if I've been asleep, you know what I mean, on the Mike Zimmer thing, Arif was my alarm going off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit awake now. I'm still a little groggy, but I'm awake to the notion of positivity.
Well, I think they're today at 2. The press conference.
Today's going to piss me off more.
Well,
Today's
they're going to do their
like,
very best to bring you on. And I think that because not only are they going to announce him, we're going to hear from McCarthy. And I think there's going to be some time to digest what had happened. And I think we'll get a statement of such that we can take away from. And I think that the all-in idea is going to be fully on display. I think that Jerry and all those involved are going to just let it be known and make it very aware that they feel our pain, and he's doing everything he can, whether you agree with it or not, to go get this title sooner than later. And he's proving it by going and getting seasoned winning coaches who we know what to expect, and there's a track record, and we're going to do it the right way and discipline and all that kind of stuff. I get the sense that's what we're going to get today, and I'm ready for it.
Today, Mike McCarthy is going to say that he is thrilled
to
have what he believes to be the best defensive mind in the NFL on his staff. That he really views it like they have a head coach of the defense. Like, I get that exact verbiage is going to be unfolded in some way, shape, or form.
But in the grand scheme of things, if we were introducing Dirty or somebody else, wouldn't there just be the same kind of complaints, just of a different flavor? He's painted himself into such a corner that no matter what he says or does, because of just the ineptitude and the inability to follow through for whatever reason, that he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. But of the lesser of two evils, isn't this the one?
No, I don't think there's a less of anything. I think they got smoked in the playoffs and had every question about them kind of, thrusted into the center of discussion. And I think that they banked on people just wanting to move on because they don't want to feel negative about everything all the time. And that phenomenon has started to occur. There's a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans who are like, you know what, I was mad for 3 weeks, but that's exhausting. You know what I mean? Like I would much rather just lie to myself and pretend that everything's great and we're going to win the Super Bowl again. So I would say that people are starting to kind of walk back a little bit in that capacity. And I'll get to that point myself too. I'm not going to lie, but there are some people who are already there and who are like, oh, dude, look, what Arif said a little while ago, and everybody can go back and listen to it, or you can go to our YouTube channel and check it out. But this is the presentation to you, Rob. You're the Dallas Cowboys fan, right? So let me lay this out. What I'm selling you is that this dude who's been hanging out for 2 years doing nothing, that was the missing key, right there. Like all we had to do was just grab it. Like it was right there, and we weren't fighting anybody for it or anything like that. We just picked this thing up and everything's fixed. You know what I mean? Like it's
just
really
because it's found money doesn't mean it's not good money.
I'm not saying that it's not good money, but like this is the like to make this properly analogous would say this is found money that is the exact equivalent of the debt that we are in. You know what I'm saying? Like that the likelihood of that being the case is just astronomical. You know what I'm saying? Like it, and I don't mean to be like I'll take the field over the likelihood that Dallas figures everything out and wins the Super Bowl, but the overwhelming likelihood is that this is just like a ho-hum sort of thing, not that they just reinvented the wheel.
The comparison, the description, I guess, of Zimmer of being an old school coach that, discipline and all that kind of stuff is something that I think a lot of Cowboy fans, me very much included, I like the sound of that. I think there's a lot of us that think the first issue on this team, more than anything else, is just the lack of discipline, that there's just too much of we're the Dallas Cowboys and we'll worry about the problems when they arise. There's just not a lot of worry about the little things. And if the little things were taken care of, a lot of these big things that just blow up in their faces at absolutely unexpected times would be avoided. So if this guy can come in, I don't care if they don't like him. I don't care. And I don't think he's going to be here very long. But if you're going to tell me you're swinging for the fences and it's an all-in kind of thing because the clock is ticking with a bunch of players and my bank account, I'm starting to kind of get the sense that this isn't just puffery and sizzle instead of steak, that maybe there's a sense of these are the right guys at the right times, that McCarthy can find a coach like Zimmer and just hand it to him like he did with Dan Quinn. Go do it. I don't want to worry about a new dude that I don't know if he can do it or not. Go do it for a year.
A lot of people have said, what's the difference between Dan Quinn and Ron Rivera in terms of who the new Commanders head coach is, right? Because it feels very similar, right? Like not necessarily an offensive mind, obviously not literally one, just a leader of men. You know what I mean? Like a
the
great
Campbell
leader,
idea.
You know, I mean, but like that's so you're just like you have the same guy. You've just like you've just turned the hourglass upside down, and in that sense, Mike Zimmer is just the same guy as Dan Quinn, right?
Is he?
Like, well, no, I don't mean same guy, but like same archetype. To your point, like just like run the defense. And look, I have supported Mike McCarthy a lot, but on some level, this deference of defensive responsibilities is kind of concerning. Like, okay, dude, like you're the head coach. Like you can't just hire somebody to just like do all of this. You know what I mean? Like you have to have some say and some involvement as well. And I'm not saying or implying that he doesn't or won't.
Right.
But I mean, dude, be a little bit less lazy. You know what I mean? Like if you're just trying to find somebody to do that entire side of the ball, maybe be involved yourself. You know what I mean? And again, maybe he will be. And he's obviously got a lot on his plate as the offensive play caller as well. But I mean, so in that sense, it feels like, oh, well, they just found another former head coach with defensive success to come be the defensive leader of the group. That's where it feels likened to Dan Quinn in my mind.
Yeah, all of that rings true. But there is this sense of, I felt like Dan Quinn allowed his stars a little bit too much leeway. I kind of feel like Micah got to decide what he was going to do, or maybe he did some stuff that Zimmer will not do. And maybe I'd rather there be a more defined, you're a star, I understand, but you're going to do the things that made you great. And that's just about all I'm going to let you do. You're not going to be able to bounce around. And that applies to a bunch of different positions. And as a fan that I felt a little loose, I go, well, there's that. I kind of like that idea, at least for a year.
I want to give a shout out to one of our staffers at Blogging the Boys, Danny Phantom, because I know you know this, but we do a roundtable show every Tuesday evening on our YouTube channel that we podcast. And so we did one last night, and we were, just kind of discussing this and Zimmer the hard ass, whatever, blah, blah. And Danny brought up a great point. And Danny is a big Dan Quinn supporter. He's one of the Dan Quinn's really running the show. Mike McCarthy's useless people.
One of those.
And so he brought up, if you recall, do you remember Hard Knocks when the Cowboys were on Micah's rookie year in 2021?
I was there.
Well, you were not on Hard Knocks. I mean, I'm just saying,
I was while they were filming it. I watched it.
But you remember
I tried
watching
to get
the show
on
because what I'm about to describe is going to involve having knowledge of the actual show. So if you recall, the Cowboys played in the Hall of Fame game that year.
I do.
In Canton, Ohio, and there was footage on Hard Knocks of Micah getting like 2 plays and then coming to the sideline and being on the phone with Dan Quinn up in the booth and being like, please, 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 let me play more, please. And Dan was like, nah, man, nah, I know. And Danny's point was like, Mike would just be like, no.
Yeah. Like, who is this?
And to your point, I don't mean to say that like, that everything was loose and there was no discipline or anything like that. But there may have been some like Dan Quinn was the cool teacher who everybody, went to his classroom during lunch and hung out. And that,
the good cop.
A reality of life is that you have to have boundaries everywhere. And maybe Dan Quinn is too buddy to where the boundaries are blurred, and that, didn't necessarily allow for proper discipline or proper responsibility to be enforced.
Because I felt like and this was early on, and I have nothing to back it up other than the first 2 weeks of practice, that, Mozzie turned out to be an unmitigated disaster. There was nothing. And the thing we needed most was something that he had, and we couldn't get it. He felt like he was kind of being treated like a star even early on. Like it just didn't feel like he was coming in, looking like the number 1 pick and lining up and hitting hard. It was kind of like, he's fun and he's strong and he's learning and we're going to allow him the time to be him and all this kind of stuff. And there wasn't that kind of attitude like, dude, not only are you going to be a star, we need you now. There ain't no messing around and learning this system. We drafted you number 1 for a reason. And I didn't ever feel like there was the focus of this guy's got to play. And I think that's Dan Quinn, acquiescing to stars and their mentality and letting them, you're a good getting this way, so I'm going to let you continue to do it this way. I just felt like that more than anything else was the reason, maybe not for Zimmer, but for the attitude that Zimmer brought.
I think that's fair. Let me throw this out. You could speak to this better than me. This is we're kind of and sometimes you need change to be able to see things, right? Like we're talking about Dan Quinn. Feels like there was a little bit of Chuck Daly dream team going on here.
Yes.
Little bit of, y'all run the show, y'all be
stars.
great, and yeah, y'all can handle this. And you needed, I don't know, maybe I'm not saying you needed Phil Knight, but you know what I mean? Like you need somebody that isn't that. You need somebody who's willing to come in and
say, you're good, but there's a lot that you could have been better at. You're a star and you did star things, but I don't think Micah would look at you and say, I'm a better player today than I was a year ago. Brass tacks,
probably fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't improve. There's nothing that I can say I do today better than I did a year ago. And that to me is a problem.
I think Micah needs to feel slighted, like a lot of people do, a lot of athletes do. And Micah, this is the awkward elephant in the room with him is like Micah's like the one of the main pass rushers in the NFL now that doesn't have a DPOY on his mantle. TJ Watt has one. Nick Bosa has one. Myles Garrett just got his. So how can you sit here and objectively say Micah's a better pass rusher than any of them? But he has a claim to that throne. Again, not an exterior pass rusher, but an interior guy. Chris Jones is obviously one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Aaron Donald has all sorts of them. Again, another interior player. I mean, Von Miller, obviously not necessarily in his prime anymore, but like how can Micah sit there and say like, I'm better than all these dudes when like you don't have the hardware to prove it?
You got a lot of potential. We thought that it might happen. We thought it would happen. It just hasn't happened. Up on our YouTube feed, question for you guys. This is from Roger Flores. How can you say anything about Zimmer's defense in Minnesota? Is the defensive coordinator running the D? First of all, we have. Go to what I'm telling specifically you, Roger, is go to the audio vault as soon as you can. We had a guest on just a little while ago, Arif Hasan, who covered the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic and writes a great Substack called The Left Post. Go check it out. You'll at the audio vault, you'll hear what he had to say. A lot of insight into what he did do with that defense and how he did improve certain players and how he also coached some stars. So I think Arif answered a lot of questions that I would have answered in the interview. Like had answered in the interview. Some of the questions about dealing with stars and the limelight and getting guys better who think they're already great.
I do think quickly, just to reference that point, Arif talked about the falling out that Zimmer had with Stephon Diggs. Now, granted, not an offensive coach, Mike Zimmer, but I mean, I don't have a sibling. I'm an only child, but you tell me as somebody who does, like, I wonder if Trayvon is like, so you're the guy,
Little something. No, absolutely. If Stephon ever said anything, Trayvon will remember it. I mean, I guarantee you, yes.
So I wonder if Trayvon's like, this sucks. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be silly or anything like that, but like, I would imagine if I had a brother or a sibling or brother or sister and they were like, I really don't like this person, I'd be like, you know what? I got your back. You know what I mean? Like, if your brother was like, Rob, this dude sucks. That dude sucks to you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way things roll.
And I would be on the team. I'd be calling Stephon. I'd be calling Trayvon's brother. What do you know? What do you know?
I incorrectly predicted that we would get a Stephon Diggs, Trayvon Diggs, breadcrumb cross radio row. Kind of pontificating about playing together with the Cowboys. I wonder if this served as the impediment for that. I wonder if they were like, oh, man, this ain't happening. Like, I don't know that this is quite Matt Patricia, following Darius Slay to the Eagles, but this feels in that neighborhood a little bit, at least in terms of the potential idea of Stephon Diggs. Obviously, he's not a player.
Coming up, we got an all-star weekend in front of us and a Spurs game tonight. Let's look around the NBA. The gumbo is hot. A Lenten version coming around the corner. And also prepare your grievances. It's Wednesday, and there are ashes abounding. We're talking about the Valentine's Day, the basketball world, and the Wimbies all coming up in the next 45 minutes. Hang around with us. RJ's a cool kid. I'm on that sidelines. This is the Morning Huddle. We'll be right back here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. How you feeling today? I hope you didn't wake up in pain. If you woke up in pain, what a horrible way to begin the day. And so many of us do. Don't let pain keep you from doing things that you love. That's why Arosty has been so successful, because all the providers have one goal in mind, and that's to get you out of pain as fast as possible. And to do it in a way that you can live with, a way where you're not dealing with surgery. This isn't about surgery, and it's not about pills to dull the pain and keep you from driving and put you to sleep and all those other things. It's about your body fixing itself. And let me tell you, it works. And it's worked for thousands and thousands of people with a variety of problems. Me, it's been lower back issues, but you might have a strained or a sprained ankle. You might have pulled a muscle. You might have a frozen shoulder or knee. Maybe it's tension headaches. Maybe it's plantar fasciitis, all of which can be fixed and fixed fast by Arosty. See, Arosty providers, they go through extra training. They're already medical professionals. They come to San Antonio to go through their Arosty training, and when they leave, they are fully functioning to get you out of pain in ways that never would have occurred to you. So go to an Arosty provider. It's easy. They're all around San Antonio, and here's a little bit more. You don't even need a referral to go. You can call them right now. The number you need is 1-800-404-6050. The website is Arosty.com. It's spelled AIROSTI.com. There's a great map of all the local providers. I bet there's one less than 10 minutes from where you are right now, and there's new ones being added all the time. If you're dealing with pain, get it fixed. Listen close. Don't let pain keep you from doing things that you love. Call Arosty today. They're going to give you a full evaluation. They're going to figure out what the problem is, and they're going to get in there and fix it. And on average, they get it done in under 4 visits. Find out today. Call Arosty. You're going to thank me later.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. In March, Texas, with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
My name is Jessica. Years ago, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition. I slept all the time, was fatigued, had no energy, and a bad attitude. Now I've lost 50 pounds and I'm still losing. My medications have been scaled back, my emotions are stable, and I have lots of energy. People at work say I'm happy, perky, and my husband says he's not walking on eggshells around me any longer. The Institute for Functional Health changed my life.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Just mix a packet of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt.
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt.
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Fife.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on Carol. She's more focused on hitting a high note than the car in front of her. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Good morning, everybody. Joe Reinagle here. Coming up on the Blitz, Mike Zimmer's press conference. He will be introduced today. It begins at 2 o'clock. We plan to take that live. And we got the Spurs Mavericks coming up tonight, the final game before the NBA All-Star break. Hey, RJ. Dan Quinn has no original ideas. Why is he stealing everybody from the Cowboys? You agree?
Do you? Yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't think I'm about
Do
it.
some work, Dan. I mean, geez.
RJ Ochoa, Blog of the Boys. I'm Rob Thompson sitting
Get
with
a
you
life.
here. The Huddle. Hey, gather around. We're going silent count on this one. There's a weird story breaking early this morning in the around the NBA. It appears right before the trade deadline, according to a Woj bomb that exploded about an hour and a half ago. Shelburne's in on this too. That Golden State and a last-ditch trade deadline 2:30 effort to trade for LeBron, to get LeBron out of LA and bring him up to Golden State for what would truly be one last run. Didn't work out. But the questions, I think, are now beginning. Where's LeBron going to go? Because he won't be a Laker next year.
So, I mean, I don't know that we can answer that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
there's not. It's completely and totally Bronny dependent, right? Like, I mean,
well, the Spurs have been mentioned more than once as a possible landing spot. Not only will they have money, they'll have young talent and a guy that he could hand the torch off to. It would serve a couple of purposes. The mentorship that he would offer for a year. Now, it would cost you drafting his son, but the Spurs got a couple of those. They got a couple of those picks, and Bronny ain't bad. We've drafted worse.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if he were bad, like, are you above that at this? Like, right now, if you're the Spurs, like, are you really in a situation where you can thumb your nose at this overall idea? I mean, I do think it's significant that this story came out, though. I mean, because, I mean, is this laying the groundwork for Bronny and LeBron to Golden State? I mean,
I'm sure, you're right. Who leaked it? What side of the fence leaked it? Because I'm not sure either side wanted it out.
But, well, I mean, but like, maybe they do want it out. Maybe they want to see, like, maybe the Dubs would be like, oh, hell no, we don't need LeBron and blah, blah. And maybe the LeBron stands would be like, no, LeBron can't ring chase with Steph and the Warriors, blah, blah. I mean, we need to see how people feel about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, why this team of all teams? Like, what do the Dubs have to do with, getting, like,
well, Steph, you could put LeBron and Steph together for one of those. We're looking at the Clippers right across the street. Or in the same building with Kawhi and Paul George, it would feel very much the same. And then you add in Russell and Harden under that crew. That's an expendables group.
Let's pretend this had happened, right? Like, so let's put on your hypothetical hat right now. Let's see you put it on, please. Put the hypothetical hat. Thank you. It's a bucket hat. The hypothetical.
It is. It's a tall one.
So LeBron's a Warrior now. Are you taking them over Denver?
No.
In the Western? Are you taking them over?
I'll tell you this. It'd be a battle.
What a series that would be. That'd be fun.
The glory of what the TV product would be extraordinary. And if this deal was being talked about in November, I would go, look out. But I think if the deal was to occur, what would be the give up for Golden State, which probably wouldn't be much. And the inculcation of LeBron into this system without a lot of rebounding going on, it would be an interesting thing to watch, try to get put together. It would be a test of Steve Kerr's mettle for sure. It's not going to happen, but I think it's something that bears attention as we close the season out. Where will LeBron land? And I do think that no matter what happens, the Spurs are going to be in this conversation.
Okay, give me a top 5 teams. A prediction. The top 5 teams to be most connected to LeBron in a serious sense, not just like in a narrative sense.
Well, I think now we have to put Golden State in this just because they've already tried once. I think the San Antonio is certainly going to be part of the mix. I think it would feel poetic if he was to end up back in Cleveland or in a New York or a Big East market, whether it be New York, Philly, or Boston. I would think those would be the 3. And then my dark horse would be landing back in Miami.
So 2 of your 5 teams are Cleveland and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For Tyler Herro?
It'll all be – it will all matter as far as who's coming and going. But LeBron could orchestrate this deal. LeBron will make the deal, and the Lakers will abide by it.
I think it will be an incredible knighthood almost. Who LeBron – like which young superstar LeBron chooses to crown as the one whose coattails he wants to ride.
I wonder how much of it will really – hinge on will they draft his son?
It all has to. That's what this has all been for. That's what this has all been for. He's accomplished. Like, he got to be a Laker and all this stuff. He'll have a statue and like, you know what I mean? Like everything, like blah blah blah. Like this is the only thing left to do. You know what I mean?
But here's my point. If he's not, I guess he's a second round pick at worst. He's probably a second rounder by talent or a late first rounder. Signed LeBron. If I have the chance to go get him, that's one team. And if I don't have LeBron, why the hell am I going to draft him if I don't even need him? So what I'm getting at is I get the sense it could be a free agency kind of thing. If I don't have LeBron, I'm not going to draft his kid because I'm not going to bring LeBron in because for a lot of reasons, I guess. He would have already been here. Maybe he just slips through and you make him a free agent and sign him. and it makes it a little bit easier. You're not wasting a draft pick. But I don't think that's the case. I would draft him just to see if I could get his dad to come for a year. Sell me some tickets anyway.
Yeah, it's a bird in hand for the one in the bush. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to do it. And if that's your goal, you have to be all in on that goal. I mean,
around the rest of the league, the NBA, the league. Well, Orlando finally retired. Or Magic. The Orlando Magic jersey number 32 will be hanging in the rafters there at the arena there in Orlando. It's kind of like when you see somebody's death notice, and you're like, I thought that guy was already gone. I thought Shaq would have been been hanging in there for 20 years.
It was only like 5 years ago that the Pittsburgh Steelers retired Joe Green's number, and to your point, it was kind of like, just now, and like it was like, why? I mean, what were the Magic too proud about? Like what was the holdup here? You know, to where they what more did they need to see? You know what I mean? To come to the realization that, you know, maybe we should do this. I mean, and it's actually kind of awkward when you wait this long, and then you do it on like a random Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, what? I mean,
that's all Orlando's doing. You know, Jordan's got his jersey retired in 2 arenas. He's got it in Chicago and he's got it in Miami for some reason. Shaq has joined Wilt Chamberlain and Pete Maravich as the only NBA players to have their jerseys retired in 3 different stadiums.
Pretty sick.
Orlando
should have been first. Yeah, it's weird that they're third.
It makes absolutely no sense. Wilt Chamberlain retired from the 76ers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Lakers. Maravich were from the Hawks, the Jazz, and the Pelicans, and Boston. They've retired enough jerseys. They could have retired it too. He could have been in 4. That's a worthy accomplishment, the likes of which you really don't consider very often. 3 different. I bet if they do it right, Kevin Durant will be able to do that.
I mean, yeah.
I think it kind of fits, though. No, only titles in one place. Say, coming back, grievances will be aired and your day will improve. Out with the bad air, in with the good. You got something to complain about, we're just the guys to listen. And also, we'll give you some Valentine's hits if you need anything. We're closing the show off the right way. Out with the bad, in with the good. Let's air our grievances next. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, it is February the 14th. If you haven't noticed, that's called Valentine's Day. And if you're looking for something to do, you run out of options, I got an idea for you. How about planning a full date night in one place? Head over to SA Card House today. Go ahead and call the Foster's Grill. Get yourself a reservation today. Head over, join yourself a private club. Take your partner. Go get joined. Have yourself a chef quality meal. Not pub grub, not chain restaurant stuff. I'm talking about Foster's Restaurant with Foster's menu, with Foster's chefs. It will be a phenomenal Valentine's meal. You combine that with an evening of cards, an evening of fun, and maybe an evening of cash. What a great night for Valentine's Day. And remember, you need to hang around SA Card House long after today, a private card house that treats you like a luxury VIP member. Because when you go, there's benefits for just sitting in those seats. Now, you might be winning hands. That's great. We want you to continue to do that. You might be looking for those cash games. You might be looking for the security, the safety, and everything that SA Card House offers you. You might be looking for the hours. You might be looking for all the general kindness that you get there. That's all there. And then you go with the games for just being a member. And all month long in February, they've got everything you're looking for. If you're looking for the games that if you're not necessarily winning, they've got that. Love it or risk it's going on all month long. 112K up to 200K in a February giveaway. 696 total hourly drawings given away, and that's 24 hours a day. There are cash to be won. They're spinning the wheel. Listen to me. Membership has its benefits. If you're looking for a place to go have fun, if you're looking for a place to go and have a fine meal, if you're looking for a place with top-notch dealers and great games, all of them in one place. That's SA Card House, 281 in Bitters. Go celebrate Valentine's Day today. Become a member. You're going to be going back, and when you are, I know you'll be thanking me later.
The boys are back from Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
You heard the big game on Sunday, and the boys made it back thanks to AA Best Bail Bonds and presented by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Synergenics. Next year, it's off to the Big Easy on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jason Minix here. Guys, your testosterone levels start to decline in your 30s. If you're feeling a lack of energy and drive, it could be caused by low T. Get your levels tested at Synergenics. They make it quick and easy, and with the convenience of their on-site lab, you'll get your results back at your first visit. At Synergenics, you will get customized care from testosterone specialists. Conquer your New Year's resolutions. Go to fixmylowt.com to book online. That's fixmylowt.com. Before you fire up that grill, make sure you get into Tri-County Meat Market. Hi, Jason Minix here. Tri-County Meat Market has everything you need. If you're thinking steaks, you want some chicken, some poppers, beef ribs, pork ribs, brisket, picanha, tri-tip. They've got it all at Tri-County Meat Market. Take advantage of their Pick 5 for $25, and Tri-County always offers a 10% discount for military and first responders. Tri-County Meat Market, 2 locations on Ralph Fair Road and on Heavener, or online at tricountymeat.com.
Folks, there's nothing romantic about home repairs, but when your plumbing has lost that love and feeling and your AC is about to achy break your heart, call Quarterman Plumbing, Heat, and AC at 210-651-5899. We'll fix the issue fast at a great price with a servant spirit.
Joel, this is a special Valentine gift from me to you.
Yeah, but why are your arms red?
I got a deal on this plant for your office.
That's poison ivy, Nigel.
It's what?
Quartermoon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899.
License number M16004.
DACLA 000743458.
Over the past decade, the Roof Hub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the UFC fights, and when you show up at the Roof Hub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. The Roof Hub is next to the Angry Elephant and in the same plaza as the Big Blind there at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
This is the Morning Huddle with Rob Thompson and RJ Ochoa.
Welcome, newcomers. The tradition begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about them.
Here are the grievances with Rob and RJ.
We do it every day. It's a good way to get your hump day going. We've been busy for several hours. We're midday. Some of y'all are just getting moving. And if you're starting the day with the bad air inside, it's going to be a bad one all day. And we want to be ready for the Mavericks tonight as the Spurs close out the ceremonial first half. So with that in mind, any grievances that you'd like to get off your chest early? And if you guys have something to say, you can type it. It's easier to talk it. 656-3776, the number you can use for either.
Rob, you can go first.
Well, I don't really I have several grievances. I want to start out with one that I didn't know what was happening. I'd seen some advertising a little bit, but yesterday afternoon I get home and I turn on my Fubos and I land on a UEFA Cup game. I landed on
Champions League.
Champions League.
Yeah.
Thrilling. I watched Man City beat Copenhagen.
Okay.
Copenhagen deployed a bit of a stall. They just played defense and just kind of laid down for a while. Certainly enjoyed it. How often does the Champions Cup happen? Every year?
The Champions League.
League every year.
Every year.
And we're just kicking it off this weekend as the beginning of the Champions League run. Is that what's going on?
No, it's been going on for a few months now.
Why suddenly now? Or has it always been Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
It's always Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thursdays are for Europa League.
You're answering my question. So that's where I was going. So if I'm putting as a new Arsenal fan, I don't know the days. I don't know like Saturdays college, Fridays high school, Sundays pro. What are the days for soccer or footy when I'm looking for them?
Generally, so Arsenal's good now. So this Champions League.
Because I'm a fan.
Arsenal, right? That's true. Arsenal are an English Premier League team. That's their domestic league. And those games, those matches typically take place on the weekends, Saturdays or Sundays. Sometimes you have Monday Night Football. Sometimes they're on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But for the most part, it's generally the weekends. Those are your Premier League, your domestic leagues. The Champions League, if you're unaware, is a entirely European competition. So you've got English teams, German teams, French teams, Spanish teams. I mean, again, teams from leagues all throughout Europe. And so every year, because you might be wondering, like, well, who gets in this? Every year, at least as the Premier League, as far as the Premier League is concerned, the top 4 finishers in a standard Premier League season are automatically entered into the Champions League the following season. So you're playing in these two competitions simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why the Champions League matches generally take place midweek, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Obviously, as you get closer to the end, your finals and things like that are on the weekends. There's also a domestic cup competition that is all English teams.
Oh my
not just
gosh!
the Premier League.
Enough already.
Well, it allows for multiple competitions and multiple trophies to be won. You mentioned Manchester City. Last year, they won all 4 competitions that they were in.
What's that called?
Well, it was called a treble when you would do all 3, but I don't know the full name for the 4th.
But there's a nickname for getting all 3, the treble.
Yeah, and Manchester United did it in the late 90s, early 1999. It's very famous. Maybe I don't know if you watched the David Beckham documentary, but they talked about it. So maybe that's where you saw it. But yeah, so this is the Champions League that has been going on. It is. You can make an argument. What's the more impressive, feat? What's the more impressive accomplishment, more impressive league or competition to win? I think most English fans would probably say the Premier League, even though that's just domestic.
Well, so there you have it. I sat in and watched what was an interesting and thrilling game. They were certainly fired up about it. I love the mid-afternoon businessman special. Let's go break away and watch a game. The timing. Cool.
So I'm sorry. What is your grievance that you watched the soccer game?
Didn't understand the importance of the league and the timing. I thought Tuesday seems random, but I heard him discussing other games in other leagues that are also going on and why some guys aren't there because they're someplace else. And I thought, well, is it only Tuesday and Wednesday, or is this just a special day?
Okay. Your grievance doesn't pass. I don't think this is a good grievance.
I didn't say it was a grievance. I was just saying I learned something yesterday. And as I try to grow my fandom, I got to get things down, and I don't know what the calendar looks like.
I have 2 grievances to start. So remember, you have to tell me whether they pass or not.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? So my first grievance is, if you're someone who listens to podcasts and whatever podcast provider you use, whether it's like Apple or Spotify, whatever,
Stitcher
generally, Stitcher.
I never have gotten over it.
And audio books also offer what I'm about to discuss. You can listen to them at normal speed. You can listen to them at 1 1/4 speed. You can listen to them at 1 1/2 speed. I mean, it's kind of up to you. So my mini grievance is I should be able to pick the exact decimal speed that I want. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be limited to just 1, 1.25, 1.5. Maybe 1.25 is too slow for me, but 1.5 is too fast. You know what I'm saying?
Like a volume speed control?
It should be, completely adjustable. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't I have like 1.39? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want that ability. I want to be able to find my speed.
Why do you listen to podcasts? For information or entertainment?
Both. But I'd say nowadays probably mostly information. But I'm entertained by the information.
I can see speeding it up.
Well, I mean, the speeding up eliminates some of the pauses and things like that. And an hour-long podcast can be cut to 40 minutes. And that's a good thing.
But if your podcast is too slow on a subject you enjoy, just go read a book.
Well, hang on. That's where I'm kind of going here. So my mini grievance there is I want to be able to set the exact speed, and I can't. But my actual grievance is I wish I had this ability to accelerate things with television shows. Why is there not a Netflix capability to watch a show on 1 1/4 speed? Why do I have to watch this at one specific speed?
Because that's normal.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair thing to, wonder.
You would want to watch a movie or a show at where they're moving around real fast and talking real fast?
I don't need all of the slow characters walking into the room and setting up the drama. Get me to the meat here. That's where I want to live.
So you're the guy that read the Cliff's Notes and not the book.
I wouldn't say that. I'm just a guy whose time is valuable. I think they're called Spark Notes now. They haven't been called Cliff Notes since
since they actually were put on paper.
Right. So
for those of you unaware, Cliff's Notes books, this must be a thing of the past, where they just took the plot lines and everything that fed the major plot is what you read, and all the peripheral stuff was left out, so you could read a 1,000-page book in 200 pages.
So my next grievance. So do either of these pass or fail?
The fast-paced TV. Yes, but I can get a podcast if you're looking for information, and especially if you got a limited time to listen to your podcast. I do. There are times I'm kind of cut to the chase. Let's get to this. And I get that immensely. And but I get why you can't. Because
I should be able. We have the technology. I should be able to choose the exact speed. I shouldn't be limited to the like 5 options you're giving me.
But that's you speed to the break, and then the break slows down.
No, the break is the ads or whatever are at the same speed.
That's what I'm saying. So. You speed to the break, and then we go back to normal speed because if I'm paying, you ain't speeding through my commercial spot. Neither do we here at San Antonio Sports Star.
So it sounds like that one passes.
That one does. I get it. I should be able to increase the speed, just like when you hear us do as a radio guy a car commercial and that last bit of the all the technical garb that we're allowed to fast forward through that stuff.
Right.
I wish I could go through all of that in a podcast.
So this is an actual grievance because these were just kind of like, but so as you'll recall, last week in Las Vegas on Radio Row, there was a bounty.
Yes, for several different things. Yes.
There was a castle area that had wings that we were able to eat off of throughout the week. Now I was talking to people around the bounty castle, and I've been kind of trying to revolutionize the world with this for a while, and I was explaining this to people, and they agreed with me. I do not like. I might have brought this up before, but when you go eat wings, let's say you're a ranch dressing person.
It'll be a minute, but okay.
Well, because you're a ranch dressing, you're not blue cheese.
I'm both. I'm down on both.
We all understand the way that the wings are shaped. Why is the saucer cup round? Okay,
as opposed to,
my proposal is the saucer cup should be rectangular shaped. And like, do you have or have you ever had like trays for your corns on the cob? Like at your house or whatever, like they sell those like trays, and they sit there, and you can
roll your butter in them.
Yeah, and you can kind of roll, and it serves as this kind of platform that you can roll.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Got money. Those are for fancy
It should
folks.
be like rectangular or even oval shaped, and you should be able to kind of twist your entire wing in the saucer cup.
Well,
but
okay,
as it's round, you only get one angle of the wing in there.
How much sauce do you need? Are you are you a previously sauced wing that you dip into more sauce?
I want whatever. Like I say, you got lemon pepper wings or garlic or honey, whatever. I mean, or dry. But like if you want ranch or blue cheese or whatever, but like I want it to cover the whole wing.
Isn't that a stackable thing, like a storage issue with the round? Isn't it just easier? And putting the caps on, isn't it just easier?
Why are we talking about ease? We're aiming for customer satisfaction.
We're also dealing with
That's what I'm
wings.
saying. Like I should be able. So like if you're eating a drum. Right, you can dip the like fat part in the cup, whatever, but there's still meat at the bottom. So why should I be forced to eating that portion without ranch dressing? Because the saucer can't contain it. That's stupid.
For those of you on our YouTube feed,
think about it. You have to go in at an angle because of this kind of geometry involved. I don't want to pour it on now. Now I have to have a plate, because what if I don't have a plate? Then I'm pouring it and it's getting all over the table. I mean, like,
why would I need a plate?
Why are you opposed to a rectangular shaped saucer cup? And then I can
tell you this: there's somebody out there who is making a good living making round cups for dip.
That's dumb.
And you're going to go to them and say, what we need you to do is I want you to change this entire press, this thing that makes the little plastic cups that your entire life has been built around. I want you to scrap that thing. What was round, I need oblong, and it can only be used for wings. I guess it need to be oblong. Ketchup.
Oval, rectangular. I mean, the worst thing, actually, do you know anyone? You know those Heinz ketchup packets, and I don't mean to come for Heinz here, where they have two ends that you can open. You can open the one end and
you can squeeze it out, or the other side you can dip.
Who squeezes? Brilliant. Who does that? Nobody does that. Nobody takes the time to carefully, like they're finger painting, like squeeze ketchup on one fry or one tender.
It's not about all the fries. Well, it is. You can just squeeze it out every now and then. I think that's brilliant. Give me options. Give me the ability to dunk or to squeeze. I'm all the way in. Next grievance. Got anything hanging around with the league? Anything in the NFL that they could need to get taken care of over the next couple of days? Anything in any other league that you feel they need to take care of?
Well, I wish that Wemby were an all-star. That is an ongoing grievance.
I do think that there should be a last-minute people's choice. That everybody's in, and we're coming toward the weekend. There's that one guy that got the deserves.
There should be like one, like we messed up.
Yes, one duo.
We were wrong. You get a mulligan. So that's my grievance. I also would add, we talked about the NBA Finals patch. If you're an all-star, it should be on your uniform after the all-star break. You should have a patch that says like I'm an all-star. There should be something.
I completely agree. And I think that's something that you should carry with you, like a captain's patch, no matter where you're playing. If you've been an all-star, it's signified like on an armband, a notch or something that says that you've earned that kind of thing. And I think that's one of those marketable things that the NBA, I'm shocked that they haven't already done, because I'd like to have a LeBron all-star jersey that has like 20 all-star notches. I mean, that's kind of cool. It separates from the one with only 19. So I think that you're onto something there as they head into the weekend. They're not doing East and West. Are we back to East and West?
Yes,
we're back to East and West instead of the that
Team
that
Rob.
I don't care. I don't care. East, West, North, South. I don't care.
I've got a bit of a bold one. I mean, we've been talking about it, but my grievance is that LeBron wasn't traded to the Warriors. Because, like, I want LeBron to be an entertaining character in the playoffs. Like, are you going to be entertained by the LeBron Lakers at any point over the rest of the season?
Well, it is LA, and there's always the circus that is LA. And it's going to be interesting to follow the Pelinka moves that he's going to have to make, the general manager for the Lakers, and how he extricates LeBron from this situation, because this is still a team that is eminently capable of doing damage. It still has Anthony Davis, and it still has LeBron, and every now and then one of the third steps up. So I can see Pelinka going, yeah, I'll listen to offers, but why the hell would I do anything to get rid of the biggest cash cow in the history of the NBA? So it'll be interesting to watch him follow through, and I'm really going to be curious how much LeBron stands by, I want to play with my son.
I mean, again, I think at this point he's come this far. Why not do it?
But, the realization of LeBron's son not being ready for the league and having to go through the embarrassment of, his son never getting off the bench. And maybe that's fine. You just travel with your kid for a year and you guys get to go through something that nobody's ever been able to do before. And that might be worth it alone. But if I'm a team trying to find my way toward wins, that's not a prescription to get LeBron. So he's segmenting himself into a very small category of teams that can not only afford him, but can take a year off, basically, by bringing in LeBron for one last run and trying to figure out a way to go.
Do you have any other grievances? Anything on your chest?
The All-Star weekend, I've already been gotten in trouble because it's not a good grievance.
This one is weird, dude. Like, your problem is that you don't take the time to
watch
it. That's
one.
Your grievance?
I got another one. The All-Star game, the celebrity basketball game.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you here. Go off.
What the hell is the point of this? Who is this actually for? Who seriously? It's for the
watching
PR Justin Bieber
of all these people and appeasing them. That's it.
And why do you think I want to watch it? I could go sit I don't care that Kevin Hart's got a jumper.
Look,
no one has ever taken 2 full hours to watch the celebrity All-Star game.
I'll take this one step further, and I recognize that everybody, wants an opportunity and things like that, but like, I don't need the like dressed up, not real commentary on it. Like, oh man, Justin Bieber was talking smack in the locker room before this, and he was talking about how he's gonna cross you up. I mean, like, and then like go into whoever, Lil Bow Wow, man. Lil Bow Wow, the energy out here is insane, right? Like, I just, let's.
But I am down for tryouts. I am down to see who can legitimately play. Like, if you want to be an all-star, prove it. Come out and play. Like, there's been some dudes that legitimately you go, that guy's got game. John Krasinski, the guy from The Office, has game. The dude can play.
Well, yeah, that was like the whole thing. Him and Dr. J.
I'd forgotten about there was an episode prior to that, but I've seen him in another thing where the dude has game. And I remember when Clooney and those guys used to run around. That's the kind of stuff that you might get my interest for about 5 minutes. You might get a little bit, but to see Ice Spice dribbling around with the ball, I no, that's that's not
along these lines. Another grievance of mine. We don't need any more Manning casts. I don't need this anymore. Like, I don't need you to shrink the game on my TV that I paid for and put somebody talking on there. Like, if you want to have
walking on some very shallow ice there, because the half zip contingent of the world.
Fine, if you want to have this, then by all means, remove them from the screen. They don't need to be like, you don't need to shrink the game for me and make the game smaller on my TV screen. But I'm so tired. Every sport has
I will say this. When you see the Manning cast, the popularity, like last night, the Manning cast was great. It's an admittance that the game that they had scheduled was bad. That you were the game was so bad that I switched over someplace else. You know what's good? A band called Interpol. That's a good thing. And Interpol is a band that you want to see. And if you are one of those folks that want to see Interpol, they're coming to San Antonio, and they're coming in May. And if you'd like to go and see Interpol, which will be performing at our beautiful Techport Center on May the 6th, I want you to grab your device immediately and dial 656-3776. And as a thank you to our late crew, caller number 3 will be going to see Interpol.
Trace.
Rock out at our Techport Center on May the 6th. Hey, the clock is ticking. You got some things to do today. Celebrate Valentine's Day the appropriate way. Find somebody to love. There's a song in there someplace, and you got somebody to love. Treat them appropriately. The Blitz is just a couple of hours away. Listen in to a love-filled episode. They'll be opening up the show with Mike Zimmer being named as the defensive coordinator. We'll regale you with all that happened tomorrow. This has been the Morning Huddle. Y'all be cool.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on the Blitz, now that the Cowboys have their new